We're awaiting a crucial verdict in the defamation case involving Rahul Gandhi. Today, the Gujarat High Court is set to announce its decision on Rahul Gandhi's plea for a stay on his conviction. Now, this verdict holds immense significance as it could determine whether Rahul Gandhi will make a comeback in the parliament or not. Join us, get down in the comment sections. Help us understand, what are you expecting? What do you think the verdict is going to be? What kind of implications will it mean for the larger political scenario? We'll delve into the details, and what we're learning right now is that the verdict is in fact amidst us. I'm going to quickly read out the verdict. The Gujarat High Court has dismissed, ladies and gentlemen, Rahul Gandhi's review plea to suspend conviction in the defamation case. So after the Surat court had dismissed the plea earlier, now Gujarat High Court has dismissed Rahul Gandhi's review plea to suspend conviction in the defamation case. Court refuses to stay conviction, which essentially means, Varghese, that it's a no-go for his comeback to the parliament.
Well, basically, he will have to forego his monsoon session right now if he's not going to go ahead with the Supreme Court. Now, the option left is to go to the Supreme Court and probably see as to how that will pan out. But right now, of course, going by the verdict coming in from the Gujarat High Court, it looks like Rahul Gandhi will not be there for the monsoon session. That is if he doesn't challenge it again in the Supreme Court.
Well, certainly. Purnesh Modi, the Surat West MLA, was the person who filed this criminal defamation case against Rahul Gandhi over his "How come all thieves have Modi as the common surname?" a remark he made during an election rally at Kolar in Karnataka on the 13th of April in 2019 ahead of the General Assembly polls. Now, the Gujarat High Court has rejected the plea for Rahul Gandhi's stay on conviction. He was convicted to 2 years of imprisonment in this particular criminal defamation case. On the 23rd of March is when the verdict was put out, the conviction was out, and 24th of March is when he stopped existing as a member of parliament in the Lok Sabha. He had to vacate his house, he had to vacate his seat, stop existing as an MP. Even as Congress leaders have reached the courtroom, the Gujarat High Court has rejected plea for stay on conviction. Rahul Gandhi is not certainly coming back to the parliament in the near future. More than 2 months after the Gujarat High Court heard the case, the Gujarat High Court was supposed to deliver its verdict today, and it has given a major setback to Rahul Gandhi in this particular defamation case. It's a no-go for Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi is going to be out of the parliament. Many people were expecting and speculating whether, if at all, this particular review plea on the conviction, where Rahul Gandhi is trying to seek a stay on the conviction, would end up putting Rahul Gandhi back inside the parliament. Many of Rahul Gandhi's supporters were quite hopeful of the same. But now it seems like it's a no-go for Rahul Gandhi. The Gujarat High Court has rejected the plea for the stay on conviction. This after 2 months after it heard the case. And earlier, before this, Rahul Gandhi's plea, a similar sort of a plea, was rejected by a sessions court earlier on as well. He'd made that Modi surname remark back in 2019 on the 13th of April in Kolar in Karnataka, where he said, "How come all thieves have the common Modi surname?" That's something that Purnesh Modi, who's the Surat West MLA, did not take much liking to. He then put out this case. He said, you can't go out and defame all people who have the Modi surname. And it's not just the Modi surname. You try to hit out at the other backward castes as well, the backward castes. So it became an entire furor in the political realm, in the legal realm. People were saying, never has this happened before. Debates about the draconian era law of criminal defamation, citing how various modern nations outside have a civil suit for defamation, not a criminal proceeding anymore. Those kind of debates had begun cropping up, and people from the legal fraternity said that they were completely divided. They said that this is very unprecedented, this shouldn't have happened. Many on the other side are saying that it was in fact necessary to put Rahul Gandhi in his right place. But right now, the Gujarat High Court has rejected the plea, the stay on conviction. What does this mean for the national, looking at the national politics under a macro lens? What does this mean? And what next for Rahul Gandhi's own political future? Those are two prominent questions now in front of us, Varghese.
Well, one is, of course, he might in fact go ahead and approach the Supreme Court on the matter. That is, of course, the option that is there with them. Now, on the issue of this, well, the issue was also raised during the April 29th hearing, where Rahul Gandhi's lawyer had in fact argued that the maximum punishment of 2 years for a bailable non-cognizable offence meant that his client would lose his Lok Sabha seat permanently and irreversibly, which is kind of a very serious condition that they may be looking at. And he also went on to say that very serious additional irreversible consequences to the person and the constituency he represents. Rahul Gandhi's constituency is, or rather, he is was representing Wayanad, and just immediately after that disqualification, that was announced, we did have Rahul Gandhi visiting Wayanad, and there was a huge rally that was conducted in Wayanad constituency. Now, the immediate after effect of this is that probably the monsoon session, you will not see Rahul Gandhi attending it if this is not taken up in the higher courts as such, whether it can be a stay on the conviction or not. And we have to probably see what is the next step on the part of the Congress when it comes to this issue. Because
Yesterday, Rahul Gandhi was supposed to address a press conference, which he did not. It was later cancelled. We're going to definitely be hearing from the man himself today. What do you think is going to be the posture that the Congress party is now going to take, given the fact that, in any case, they weren't really expecting to see Rahul Gandhi in the latest session of the parliament?
Again, as I said, when we look at Rahul Gandhi, when he's going to make those statements, of course, he's going to make those statements from a point of confidence. And this case would be used probably as a golden necklace on his, neck, which he would be used to as a badge of, being scuttled when it came to that statement. He would probably use it as that when it comes to his political acumen. But the real question now is who will represent Wayanad constituency and who is going to represent him when it comes to that constituency as such. So that would be the big question. So there's a possibility that Priyanka Gandhi might represent.
Rahul Gandhi's defamation case verdict, the Gujarat High Court has refused to stay his conviction and the 2-year jail term that he was convicted with. The High Court has noted that there are at least 8 other criminal defamation complaints pending against Rahul Gandhi, and that the Sessions Court order does not, it does not warrant any interference. The High Court further noted that at least 10 criminal cases are pending against Rahul Gandhi. So that's the latest that we're tracking. Rahul Gandhi's review plea seeking a stay on the conviction, the 2-year jail term, that has been rejected by the Gujarat High Court. Just a little recap of what all has happened. On the 23rd of March, Rahul Gandhi was convicted by a district court in Surat in the Modi surname remark case. Rahul Gandhi was sentenced to 2 years in jail. The very next day, Rahul Gandhi was disqualified from the Lok Sabha as a convicted politician, and it was said that he cannot remain a parliamentarian. He set out that emotional video as well when he was vacating his residence in the national capital. Later on, Rahul Gandhi approached the Surat Sessions Court for a stay on the conviction. On the 20th of April, the Sessions Court earlier rejected Rahul Gandhi's plea and said Rahul Gandhi, being the member of parliament and the former chief of the country's second largest political party, should have been more careful. On the 25th of April, Rahul Gandhi appealed to the High Court challenging the Surat Sessions Court order. In May, the Gujarat Court refused to grant any interim relief to Rahul Gandhi and said that the final order will be passed after the summer vacation. 2 months after that, today, we were expecting and awaiting that particular verdict. It has come out. It's a major setback for Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party. The High Court has refused to stay Rahul's conviction. Joining us on the broadcast is our legal editor, Ashok Bagria. Ashok, how are you looking at this major development today? All media channels are glued to their screens and the proceedings of the Honorable Court. What does this mean for Rahul Gandhi? What kind of legal remedies are available in front of him? And just about, keeping the politics aside, would like you to throw some light on that as well towards the end.
Well, in one sense, it's not a surprising verdict because on an earlier occasion, this very court had declined to give him interim stay on the conviction. Now, what had happened in the proceedings when it happened in May, there was a very strong case which was made out by Rahul Gandhi's counsel in the Gujarat High Court saying that irreparable damage would happen to Rahul Gandhi's chances of contesting election and also damage would be caused to the people of Wayanad the constituency, the Lok Sabha constituency Rahul Gandhi represents. Now, what really happens is, I'll just give you a little background of the law. Is under the Representation of People's Act, if any person, any sitting member of Parliament or Legislative Assembly is convicted of a criminal offence which carries a sentence of 2 or more years, he or she stands disqualified immediately from the date of the judgment. In Rahul Gandhi's case also, he was found guilty of passing defamatory remarks against a class of people who had Modi as their surname. The court, the Surat court, had punished him and sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment. Now, when the imprisonment order was pronounced, immediately Rahul Gandhi stood disqualified as a member of Parliament from the Lok Sabha constituency of Wayanad, and his lawyers moved the Sessions Court in Surat seeking a stay on the conviction, because there are two things. One is the stay on conviction and stay on the sentence. While the court stayed the sentence, granted a stay on the sentence, which actually meant that he was free to be on bail, there was no stay on conviction. Immediately they moved the Surat Sessions Court and then subsequently the Gujarat High Court. Today, what the Gujarat High Court has basically done, it's passed a reasoned order. In May, what they had done was that they had declined any interim relief or an immediate urgent relief on the matter whether there should be a stay on conviction or not. But today, the Gujarat High Court passing a reasoned order saying that, look, what we believe is that the stay on conviction is something which has to be exercised by the courts on very rare occasions, and they believe that this is not one of those rarest of the rare cases in which a stay on conviction can be granted. The second important thing that the judge, while pronouncing the verdict, said was that I see that even during the pendency of this case, there are many criminal cases which have been filed against Rahul Gandhi, who is the accused or who is the petitioner in this particular case. And he also referred to one particular case of defamation which had been filed in Lucknow, where Rahul Gandhi had uttered defamatory words against Veer Savarkar. So in this backdrop, the High Court judge has come to a conclusion that nothing will happen if the stay on conviction is not granted, and they have basically refused to stay the conviction of Rahul Gandhi. Now, what really happens from here on is that as far as Rahul Gandhi is concerned, he has the option of approaching a division bench of the Gujarat High Court, or basically coming to the Supreme Court saying that something has to be done as far as his particular case is concerned. And he can say that there is an irreparable damage which will happen to him. And one more important thing, that in March, the Lok Sabha Secretariat had disqualified Rahul Gandhi as a member of Parliament from Lok Sabha. But ever since then, the Election Commission of India has not notified elections to the Wayanad constituency, and which is pretty surprising. So it will be very interesting to see that how things go from here, because now the High Court has applied its mind and said that they don't believe that a case for stay of conviction is made out.
In terms of what next for Rahul Gandhi, is he going to be like moving the Supreme Court, a higher judicial institution?
Well, that will basically depend on the legal advice he is given. Now, there are two options available to him. Now, this particular judgment which was delivered today was delivered by a bench of one judge. Now, this particular judgment can be challenged before a division bench of the Gujarat High Court, or the lawyers or Rahul Gandhi can come straight to Supreme Court and say that, or try to make out a case before the Supreme Court, that if this particular stay order is not granted, massive damage will happen to his political career. And another very important question of law, there are actually two questions of law which are involved here. One is that in the last at least 50-60 years, in a defamation case, in a criminal defamation case, nobody has been granted the maximum punishment.
Maximum is 2 years.
2 years.
2 years is what you need to stop existing as a member of Parliament.
So in the last 50 years, or as far as I can recall, that in none of the cases that I know of, 2-year punishment has been handed out. So it was really surprising that the maximum punishment was given to Rahul Gandhi. The second thing is a point of law in defamation. So for an offense of defamation, I need to say something to somebody which is offensive and which has an effect
On the
of
reputation of the
lowering
man.
the reputation of that individual in the eyes of the society. So both these criteria have to be met. But you see, in the past, the courts have.
Well, we're getting some reactions, Ashok. Let's quickly cut across to those as well. Proper furor now.
कांग्रेस पार्टी द्वारा एक जनसभा का आयोजन किया गया था। उस जनसभा में श्रीमान राहुल गांधी ने सभी चोरों का उपनाम मोदी क्यों, ऐसी कई अपमानजनक बात हमारे समाज में की थी। तभी 2019 में हमने सूरत में चीफ कोर्ट में बदनक्षी का मुकदमा पेश किया था और 2023 में हमारे दोनों पक्षकारों के वकीलों की दलील एविडेंस के आधार पर 2 साल की सजा श्रीमान राहुल गांधी जी को हुई। बाद में उन्होंने कन्विक्शन स्टे के लिए सूरत की सेशंस कोर्ट में जब वो आए थे, वापस दोनों पक्षकारों की वकीलों की दलील हुई। बाद में वहां पर भी उनका कन्विक्शन स्टे निकाला गया, खारिज कर दिया गया। तब हमारे फैसले हमारे पक्ष में रहा। उस फैसले से नाराज होकर नामदार गुजरात हाई कोर्ट में श्रीमान राहुल गांधी ने फिर से मुकदमा कन्विक्शन स्टे के लिए आए थे और आज दोनों पक्षकारों की दलील हुई है। बाद में आज का जो फैसला दिया गया है, तो उस फैसले को हम नामदार हाई कोर्ट के फैसले को स्वीकार करते हैं और जो भी कानूनी मुद्दे उसमें उठाए गए, उसमें हमारे जो एडवोकेट है टोलिया साहब, वो आपको बताएंगे।
एक सवाल ये है कि कोर्ट ने ये भी कहा है कि राहुल गांधी का इतिहास रहा है, फिर चाहे वो वीर सावरकर का मामला हो या और मामले जहां पर उन्होंने मानहानि की है, एक दो नहीं कई मुकदमे हैं,
तो वो तो उनका बाबत है
जी, लेकिन कोर्ट ने माना है कि उनका इतिहास रहा इस तरीके के बयान देने का।
तो उनको अभी सोचना चाहिए कि ऐसे इतिहास न रचे। हिंदुस्तान में सद्भावना से पेश आए, उनको सोचना है।
सावरकर का भी जिक्र किया है कोर्ट अपना फैसला सुनाते हुए।
मैंने अभी बताया कि आज का जो फैसला आया है, हमारा जो एडवोकेट टोलिया साहब है, कानूनी प्रक्रिया के बारे में आपको बताएंगे।
फैसले के क्या मुख्य बिंदु रहे हैं, क्या रहा है?
बिंदु क्या क्या है सर?
किस आधार पर याचिका खारिज की गई?
As it is already
टेबल
told.
पर आवीजिए, टेबल पर आवीजिए, टेबल पर आवीजिए, टेबल 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 टेबल
Today the Honorable Court has given the verdict, accepting all our legal points, as well as it is observed that
Court. And some interesting points that people are raising. You could hear the word Veer Savarkar, which essentially means that there are several other defamation cases as well. You spoke about how in the last 50-60 years you haven't seen a 2-year imprisonment conviction for something like a defamation case. A lot of people, I remember we were talking to each other when this particular verdict was out, this conviction was out, and instantly we had people from the legal fraternity come out and they were constantly divided in their thought and opinion that this is something that is so unprecedented. We should in the first place do away with this criminal aspect of defamation. Many countries in the West have a civil suit for something like a defamation case.
Yeah, in fact, in the last decade, there have been voices which have raised the concern on the criminality of defamation. So basically, the law on defamation is something which is a colonial hangover which we have inherited from the British lawmakers. And in that point in time, at that particular point in time in the 1870s, when the Indian Penal Code was codified, defamation was made a criminal offense. But what we have seen that in the last many years, many Western countries, including Great Britain, has dropped defamation as a criminal offense and they have made it just as a civil offense. So in fact, even in the Supreme Court of India, Subramaniam Swamy had filed a petition here in the Supreme Court saying that challenging the constitutionality of defamation as a criminal offense. But at that point in time, the judges of the Supreme Court believed that defamation should be kept as a criminal offense. So this debate is an ongoing one. Now, as far as Rahul Gandhi is concerned, I was trying to tell you is that number one, the maximum punishment. Number two is the offense, that is the offense itself. Now, if you look closely at the remark or the comment made by Rahul Gandhi, he did not make the remark against an individual. He said, why is it that every thief in this country has a Modi surname? So this was basically a defamatory remark against people who have Modi surname. So now the question arose was that it is a class of people who were defamed. Now earlier, as far as defamation and class of people is concerned, the courts have ruled that a class of people as a whole cannot be defamed. It is only an individual who can be defamed. So let me give you a loose example that in the 1960s there was a classical case of a movie, a Bollywood movie, which was being made by a veteran filmmaker Devan Verma, and he was making a movie on
Ashok, we're going to have to come back to that loose example. The lawyer is now giving his explanation as to what happened inside the court. We're going to come back to that example.
સિદ્ધાંતો પ્રમાણે છે, એમાં કોઈ ક્ષતિ નથી. ઉપરાંતમાં આરોપીનો ગુનાહિત ઇતિહાસ છે. એમએલએ કે એમપી હોવા માત્રથી ડિસ્ક્વોલિફિકેશન થાય એ તો કાયદાની પ્રક્રિયા છે. કોઈ વિશિષ્ટ પ્રકારના લાભ મળી શકે નહીં એમએલએ એમપી હોવા માત્રથી. અને 10 જેટલા એમની સામે ગુનાહિત કેસ આ જ પ્રકારના પેન્ડિંગ છે. આ બધા સંજોગો જોતા એમની કંડક્ટ જોતા રિવિઝન અરજી નામંજૂર કરવામાં આવેલી છે. હજી આખો ચુકાદો હાથમાં આવવાનો બાકી છે. નામદાર જજ સાહેબ, જસ્ટિસ સાહેબ સહી કરશે, પછી ચુકાદો ટ્રાન્સફર થશે, પછી હાથમાં આવશે. બપોર સુધીમાં મળી જવો જોઈએ, પછીનો અભ્યાસ કરીને આગળનું કંઈ પણ સ્ટેટમેન્ટ થઈ શકે. ઓકે, થેન્ક યુ. ગુજરાતીમાં
to the media. Coming back to that example that you were, putting out, Ashok, to help the viewers understand how it's not entirely possible to defame an entire class of people.
Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, that in the past there have been cases which have come before the courts where defamation criminal complaints have been filed against individuals for defaming a particular class of people. So one particular case was of Asha Parekh versus State of Bihar, in which the case was that a movie was being made in the 1960s, and there was one particular dialogue where they were saying that all advocates are thieves. Now, advocates in Patna took great objection to this statement in the movie and filed a criminal FIR of defamation, not just against the actress Asha Parekh, but also the filmmaker. And when the High Court of Patna heard this matter, they came to a conclusion that, advocates as a class cannot be defamed until and unless that defamatory statement is made against a singular person or a group of persons. You cannot say that when the movie dialogue says that all advocates are thieves. They did not say that all advocates in Bihar are thieves or all advocates in Patna are thieves. Only if something of that would have been said, then a cause of action would have arisen. But when a statement was made that all advocates are thieves, no case of defamation is made out. Similarly, this plea has also been taken in Rahul Gandhi's case. Now, Rahul Gandhi said two things. He took the names of Narendra Modi, Lalit Modi and Nirav Modi and said these three people are thieves. And then he went on to say that surprisingly, why people who share the common surname Modi are thieves. So if a case of defamation is made out, either Lalit Modi can file a case of defamation, Nirav Modi or Narendra Modi can file a case because their names were taken. But here in this particular case, Purnesh Modi, who is a former BJP MLA from Gujarat, said that when Rahul Gandhi made this statement, he lowered the estimation or reputation of his and not only his community members in the eyes of the society, and therefore the offense of criminal defamation is made out and he should be punished. Now, that was a stand which was taken by the Surat trial court. Surat trial court in its verdict said yes, all the elements of defamation are made out. But you see that particular judgment of the Surat trial court has not been challenged. In fact, it has been challenged, but it has not been tested by a higher court. What has really happened after that verdict was that immediately there were two things that Rahul Gandhi's lawyers wanted. Number one was basically a stay on the sentence, that is for bail purposes,
right.
And second, a stay on conviction. Stay on conviction so that he is not disqualified as a member of parliament. So ever since the passing of the verdict, the lawyers have been working on this particular strategy. But now what we see is that the Gujarat High Court has applied its mind and dismissed his petition on stay of conviction by a reasoned order. So probably now he could actually file a petition before the division bench or come to the Supreme Court directly. Why it becomes essential for him is because not only his conviction has disqualified him as a member of parliament from Wayanad, but also disqualifies him from contesting election for 2 + 4 years, that is 6 years. I mean to say 2 + 6 years, which is for next 8 years. He will not be able to contest any election.
Any election whatsoever.
So basically what that means is that politically he will not be able to take part in any electoral
And how
process.
do you not look at this under the political lens? Is so close to the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, and given those two options that you were talking about, either go to a division bench in Gujarat itself, or move to the Supreme Court. I think it's better he moves away from Gujarat. It's not really reaping any dividends for him. KV Dhananjay, senior advocate, joins us on the broadcast. Mr. Dhananjay, how are you looking at the developments that are coming out of the Gujarat High Court? We've been discussing how in the last 50-60 years there hasn't been a 2-year imprisonment, that kind of a conviction vis-a-vis a criminal defamation case. KV Dhananjay, also throw some light on how you're looking at the court's observations, where they're saying that this is a person who's a stalwart of a political party. He's been the secretary, he's been at the helm of affairs of the Congress party. He should have been more careful in what he said. But first and foremost, your initial thoughts.
I'm surprised, but I've been surprised since Rahul Gandhi was convicted by a trial court because I myself practice on the side of defamation. There are a couple of defamations.
Well, Mr. Dhananjay, I'm going to have to cut you short over here. Former law minister, his reaction. Let's cut right away.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट देश की भावना का और कानून का सही संज्ञान लेते हुए इस पर अपना निर्णय देंगे, मगर क्योंकि न्यायपालिका का फैसला हम सब पर बाध्य है, इसलिए हमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले का इंतजार करना होगा. Well, it is very difficult for me to comment on the validity of the judgment of the Gujarat High Court, but I have no doubt that its justification will be and should be tested in the Supreme Court. The decision to unseat Mr. Rahul Gandhi was a very unfortunate decision. The conscience of the nation has rejected that view, and I have no doubt that the Supreme Court, taking cognizance of the true intent of the law and of national sensitivities and constitutional sensitivities, will decide in its wisdom the way it will decide. There is no doubt that this decision will be challenged in appeal, and hopefully the decision of the Gujarat High Court will be reversed.
The former law minister Ashwini Kumar, he's also of the opinion that Supreme Court seems to be like a better option. Going back to Advocate Dhananjay, sir, sorry for cutting you short there. Also, now we know what Ashwini Kumar had to say. Throw some light on what's your take on what the former law minister said.
Well, I've been surprised since the judgment conviction passed by the trial court. I practice also on the side of defamation. I'm in fact handling suits worth hundreds of crores of rupees. And I can tell you that whatever is happening in this country in the name of defamation is sheer nonsense and complete rubbish. With due respect to the courts and the judges who've been dealing with this case and who've been ruling against Mr. Rahul Gandhi, I have nothing to do with the Congress party. So this is complete nonsense and thorough rubbish and nothing else. To start with, Mr. Rahul Gandhi in Kolar, in an electoral speech, mocked Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, and then he took the case of Nirav Modi and the other, I love Mr. Lalit Modi, both of whom are fugitives and
Right.
absconders. And then he says, why are these people's surnames Modi? That's it. Now, the meaning of this will be the meaning that the courts will have to allow Mr. Rahul Gandhi to give. That is not what happened here. Some person who did not even claim that Mr. Rahul Gandhi knew him personally, who goes before a trial court in Surat and says that, look, what in fact was said is against the entire Modi community. And because he happens to be a member of the Modi community, he wants Mr. Rahul Gandhi to be punished and convicted. I mean, this is sheer rubbish. For the simple reason that we don't have something like a class defamation to start with, because defamation always looks at the perspective of a right-thinking individual. Now, Mr. Purnesh Modi is in fact, has in his mind a complete idiot. Now, it's only a complete idiot that would say, before Mr. Rahul Gandhi's statements, I used to have respect for people carrying surname Modi. And after Mr. Rahul Gandhi said what he said, I have no longer any respect and I don't want to associate with them. That's not what a right-thinking person or a reasonable person would be thinking. That's what a complete idiot thinks. Now, unfortunately, in this country, I just don't understand what's wrong with our courts. I mean, what kind of logic, what kind of legal reasoning do they adopt? There is no legal reasoning worth the name. Now, it's a travesty that a court thought it fit to punish someone, or rather convict someone for someone as frivolous as this. But then, after having convicted, look at the sentencing. The sentencing is 2 years. Now, that's so rare. It's impossible to state with certainty that no one's been convicted for 2 years on a case of criminal defamation, because the record keeping in this country is not that satisfactory. And I can also tell you another thing, which is after this conviction in Karnataka, there is a popular Kannada news channel. The editor of that was also convicted under criminal defamation on a different set of facts, and he was sentenced to 2 years. So it's impossible to say that this is the sole instance, but it's fair to say that this is rare, so rare that it should raise your eyebrows.
Well, certainly.
Now,
Advocate Dhananjay over there, trying to say that there was some backroom managing that was at play over here as well. Sir, I wouldn't use the word idiot so loosely, because you never know. I don't want to work Mr. Purnesh Modi and have a criminal defamation case on myself as well.
Hold on, no. I didn't, one second.
Right.
I didn't call Mr. Purnesh Modi as an idiot. I said he basically is talking about complete idiots in whose eyes he's been defamed. Now, the standard for defamation is that you will have to take the eyes and the mind of a reasonable person, not a complete idiot. And what Mr. Purnesh Modi has done is to bring to the court the conspectors of idiots who alone would think Mr. Purnesh Modi has been defamed by what Mr. Rahul Gandhi says. By the way, I've been commenting publicly for the last 25, 30 years, and I practice on the side of constitution and defamation. I'm always careful with my choice of words, so please don't worry, or please don't be bothered about that. So I want to tell you again that in defamation law, the court starts with what would be the view of a reasonable and a right-thinking person. And is the reasonable and right-thinking person going to take Mr. Rahul Gandhi so seriously that after Rahul Gandhi says...
Well, Mr. Dhananjay, pertinent points that you've raised over here. Apologies if you think I overstepped.
But still, the entire country, all the opposition parties and the people of this country stand by Rahulji. He is a great leader who has been fighting across the country to unite country, walking on the streets of this country, fighting against corruption, fighting against unemployment, fighting against price rise. This is the love he has been given to the people of this country. So the BJP leaders are not able to tolerate. They want to block him from the parliament. They want him to unnecessarily create for his speech, which is nowhere heard. I have been looking at various opinions across the world, globe, that all of them are criticizing the way the BJP leaders are trying to take on Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I still feel that he will grow more strong. Whatever they do, the people of this country stand by him, and we are.
D.K. Shiv Kumar, the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka. Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi, let's look at his reaction as well, one from the BJP as well.
विकास के रास्ते में किसी भी तरह का स्पीड ब्रेकर या किसी भी तरह का रोड़ा अटका, उसको भी साफ करते हुए और देश के आम लोग तरक्की के हिस्सेदार भागीदार बन रहे हैं. वंदे भारत भी उसका एक हिस्सा है.
Well, so that's Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi's reaction, and you can't not look at it under the political lens, like I was iterating earlier. We're so close to the 2024 Lok Sabha polls. Ashok, you heard what Advocate Dhananjay was talking about. Would you like to echo along the similar lines, or would you have something different to say here?
No, he was more or less right on the point when he says that as far as the offense of defamation is concerned, you have to see whether the statement made actually lowers the reputation of a person, lowers the reputation of that person who's been defamed in the eyes of the society. And the test that has to be applied is that a reasonable person's or a reasonable man's test as to how would a reasonable or an ordinary man look at those statements. It can't be, you can't take the case of hypersensitive people who say that who can get offended very easily. So this hypersensitive man test is not to be applied. The test of a reasonable man is to be applied. And if that particular test is to be applied, it looks that a case of defamation is not made out. But for that, that's why we have the courts. The courts have to apply their minds, look at the facts and circumstances of each case individually and come to a conclusion. Now, in this particular case, the trial court and Surat believes that a case of defamation has been made out. But as I said earlier, the trial court's reasoning and verdict has not been tested by a higher court. The Sessions Court, there is an appeal which is pending in the Surat Sessions Court, where this judgment of the Surat trial court will be tested, and subsequently it will be tested in the High Court, and subsequently and finally it will come to the Supreme Court for a final say on that case.
Well, Pankaj Mishra, our colleague, joins us on the broadcast as well. Pankaj, looking at the larger, political landscape and what this means now for Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party, what's your take? What are you picking up? Your initial thoughts on the Gujarat High Court's verdict?
Well, the merits of the verdict have, well been discussed by Ashok and our honorable guest there. As far as the initial reactions are concerned, obviously it's a cause of worry for the Congress, but Jairam Ramesh has tweeted saying that, they are going through the verdict, and 3 o'clock this afternoon, the Congress would be holding a press conference. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, a noted lawyer himself, would be addressing the media. Meanwhile, a man of the moment, Purnesh Modi, has also responded saying that everyone should accept the court's order. That is Satyamev Jayate in its real sense. So this is what Purnesh Modi had to say. Kabir, I just wanted to add a few pointers here that in the run-up to 2024 elections, obviously the options that the Congress would have as being laid out by our esteemed members on the panel also is to appeal this verdict in the Supreme Court or go to a division bench. That is the way to go. But other than that, this whole opposition unity that was being formulated, and whether as the day progresses, the political pundits would be starting to look at the possibilities of how it dents, the future of opposition unity, because this is not just one-off case, but there are several other cases. What's happening with the NCP, what happened with Shiv Sena, and all those things. So, in that regard, I would say it's a jolt, but psychological one. As far as the legal battle is concerned, that will continue, and I'm sure that as we approach closer to 2024. There's more fireworks that we are going to see, and obviously Congress won't take it lying down as well, and some rebuttal of sorts would be seen in the days to come.
Well, absolutely pertinent points that you've raised there. Advocate Dhananjay, you were talking about how a similar instance can be given about this media personnel from Karnataka over the same storyline as well. But ever since these hearings began, March, then in May, then we're at the verdict here today in July. What's the larger message that is now going to the people? I mean, these are our honorable courts, and there's proper allegations in the public domain that something fishy happened in the backroom management.
Well, I mean, background management, I don't know what it means, but we have to be concerned in this day and age if court of law, were to interpret the law of defamation, that is so well settled. You go over to any of the other countries from which we borrowed the law of defamation and you tell them something like this, they will laugh. Probably this could turn out to be their biggest joke of the year. What's happening in this country in our courts is a sheer nonsense. And by the way, some Congress person might come to your studio and say all BJP fellows are crooks. So that's also defamation. Some BJP fellow might say that all Congress persons are thieves. That's also defamation. But if that were to be the case, you would have seen too many people having been convicted, so much so that politicians would never even dare to open their mouth. The reason why we don't have a class defamation is we always take the conspectus of a reasonable person, and a reasonable person would not view things in that manner. It's only a complete idiot. And we appealed to the sensibilities of a complete idiot to get a man convicted. And the problem is not conviction alone that I believe we are discussing right now. That is because that conviction has been appealed. And then in the course of that appeal before the Sessions Court said two things to Mr. Rahul Gandhi. It said, okay, look, there's a 2-year imprisonment that for you, and then you are supposed to be in jail. But what we will do is we will give you bail for the entire length of the appeal. So Mr. Rahul Gandhi at this point of time is a free person. So how is the conviction pinching him? The conviction is pinching him in terms of the disqualification under the Representation of People Act of 1951. Now, for disqualification to come under that statute, to hold a seat in the Lok Sabha or in the state legislature, one has to be convicted for a period of 2 years. Now, it's fair to say that because it's so rare, conviction of 2 years so rare in criminal defamations, it's difficult to think that the trial court judge did not really, bother about all the things and just thought that Mr. Rahul Gandhi should be sentenced to 2 years. Now, the Congress party, again, I'm surprised that they do so much of these public agenda meetings and all. Why don't they come to the public with what kind of judgments have been delivered by these judges in the past? Because, I can tell you one thing, which is you take the Nirbhaya case. When you take the Nirbhaya case, you come across a trial judge who convicted and then sentenced almost all of them to death. What some of the lawyers did, and I too was part of that, is to find out, what this particular trial judge had done in the past. And we were startled to know that the trial judge had simply acquitted in the last 2.5 or 3 years of that judgment. We only saw acquittals and after acquittals, and this became a very big story. I mean, this was academically published. And we wanted to throw light on the fact that, look, it's important for us to also know the pattern of sentencing, pattern of orders, and all of that in trial courts. I think the Congress party should also do that, and it should lead the people to make their own observations. I don't want to even for a moment suggest that there is some kind of judicial manipulation here. That's the reason I would say that I find fault with the courts, and I will stop there. I don't find judicial I'm not going to suggest that there is judicial manipulation here. Now, the next step forward for Mr. Rahul Gandhi is to go to the Supreme Court, because these are criminal cases, and in criminal cases, if a single judge, the roster or the rules in the Gujarat High Court are such that the matter would be heard by a single judge, and whatever he decides cannot be appealed to a division bench, because this is a criminal case. So Mr. Rahul Gandhi's next option is to go to the Supreme Court. But there is something else that actually should be concerned about, which is the Constitution of India says no seat can remain vacant. It doesn't say in explicit terms, but that's how courts have interpreted it, which is no seat can remain vacant for more than 6 months. Now, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is also running out of time, so much so that the Election Commission of India would be forced to hold a by-poll to the Wayanad constituency. And if he would not be able to secure immediate reprieve from the Supreme Court, he would not be able to contest that seat. And I don't think we should be concerned much about Mr. Rahul Gandhi's situation, but rather that things like these tend to have a chilling effect on speech by others. And that's what I'm really concerned about. I'm not concerned with Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself, because I don't care whether he gets elected or whether he's able to contest the Wayanad constituency. I'm concerned more about what things like this are likely to do in other defamation cases, because it's fair to say that this particular judgment emboldened a judge in Karnataka.
Silence, please. આજે ગુજરાત હાઈકોર્ટમાંથી સિંગલ જજ સાહેબે રાહુલ ગાંધીજીની જે અપીલ ફાઇલ કરેલી હતી એ અપીલમાં નિર્ણય આપ્યો છે. આ પછીનું સ્ટેજ છે એ નામદાર સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટ હોય. અમારી લીગલ ટીમ સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટ સુધી આ મેટર લઈને જશે. જે સંપૂર્ણ ટેકનિકલ બાબત અને જે સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટ સુધી જવાનું છે અને હાઈકોર્ટનું જજમેન્ટ છે એના બાબતમાં બપોરે 2:30 વાગે ઓર્ડર સાઇન થયા પછી જેવો અપલોડ થશે એટલે બપોરે 3 વાગે અભિષેક મનુ સિંઘવીજી એઆઈસીસીના પ્લેટફોર્મ પરથી જજમેન્ટ જોયા પછી એ રિએક્શન આપશે અને એ વાત કરશે. ખાસ કરીને રાહુલ ગાંધીજીનો જે કેસ છે એમાં જે ટેકનિકલ મુદ્દા ઘણા છે અને એમાંનો મુખ્ય મુદ્દો એ કે સુરત કોર્ટનું જ્યુરિડિક્શન જ નહોતું હોવું. કર્ણાટકામાં બોલાયેલી વસ્તુ એ સુરતમાં એનો કેસ ના થઈ શકે ને કરવો હોય તો કાયદાથી જે પ્રોસિજર હોય એ ફોલો કરવી જોઈએ, એ નહોતી થઈ. મૌલિક અધિકાર નેતાઓનો બોલવાનો છે. યુએન કન્વેન્શનમાં પણ એ નક્કી થયું છે કે નેતાની એ જવાબદારી પણ હોય છે કે જે કાંઈ ચાલતું હોય એ લોકો સુધી વાત પહોંચાડે. લલિત મોદી, નીરવ મોદી એ દેશને લૂંટીને ગયા હોય અને એની વાત કરવી એ કોઈ ગુનો ના બને. પરંતુ છતાં કોર્ટના ચુકાદાઓ આવે ત્યારે એના ઉપર અપીલની જોગવાઈ હોય છે. સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટ સુધી આ મેટર જરૂર જશે. ભૂતકાળમાં અમરેલીના સાંસદ નારણભાઈ કાછડિયા એમણે હોસ્પિટલમાં જઈને એક દલિત ડૉક્ટરને ઓન ડ્યુટી માર્યો, જેનો કેસ 2016માં અમરેલીની કોર્ટમાં ચાલ્યો. એ ગંભીર ગુનો, મારામારીનો, મારવાનો ગુનો, એમને અમરેલીની કોર્ટે સજા કરી. ગુજરાતની હાઈકોર્ટે એમને રાહત ના આપી, પણ સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટે જ્યારે રાહત આપી ત્યારે સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટના જજમેન્ટમાં લખાયું હતું કે ગંભીર ગુનો છે, કેશ વળતર ચૂકવે નારણભાઈ કાછડિયા, પરંતુ એક સંસદ સભ્યની જવાબદારીની, લોકપ્રતિનિધિ તરીકેની એની જવાબદારીઓ વહન કરવામાં રોક ન લગાવવી જોઈએ અને સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટે એમની તરફેણમાં રાહત આપી હતી. કેરલા કોર્ટમાં હમણાં એટેમ્પ્ટ ટુ મર્ડર 307નો ગુનો, એ સંસદ સભ્યને પણ રાહત મળી છે. મને પૂરો વિશ્વાસ છે કે નામદાર સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટમાંથી ન્યાયિક રીતે અપીલ ચાલ્યા પછી રાહુલ ગાંધીજીના કેસમાં પૂરતી રાહત મળશે.
सर क्या कहेंगे जो आज हिंदी हिंदी हिंदी
चलो साइलेंस साइलेंस आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने आज हाई कोर्ट ने राहुल गांधी जी की जो अपील थी उसमें फैसला सुनाया है. 80 से 90 पन्नों का फैसला है. अभी जज साहब की साइन नहीं हुई है. पूरे जजमेंट को स्टडी करने के बाद दोपहर 3 बजे ऑल इंडिया कांग्रेस कमेटी की ओर से अभिषेक मनु सिंघवी जी ऑफिशियल रिएक्शन देंगे. हमें पूरी उम्मीद है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में ये मैटर ज़रूर जाएगी और जो पहलू राहुल गांधी जी की फेवर में है, कर्नाटक में कुछ बोलने पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट के काफ़ी जजमेंट है, लॉ क्लियर है कि कर्नाटक में कुछ बोले हैं उसकी मैटर सूरत में चल नहीं सकती. अगर चलानी है तो कानूनन जो प्रोसीजर करनी चाहिए वो हुई नहीं थी. राहुल गांधी जी ने किसी जाति के खिलाफ कोई बात नहीं की. अगर नीरव मोदी ललित मोदी देश को लूट के गए और उन तथ्यों को जनता के सामने वो रखते हैं तो उनका अधिकार है। यूएन कन्वेंशन में भी ये कहा गया है कि नेता की ये जिम्मेवारी भी है कि देश में ऐसी चीज जनता तक पहुंचे। फिर भी जो जजमेंट आया उसके खिलाफ हमारी अपील थी। राहुल गांधी जी बिल्कुल अपील के दौरान जो मुद्दे रखे थे उसमें क्या हाई कोर्ट का जजमेंट है उसको स्टडी करने के बाद अभिषेक मनु सिंघवी जी बात रखेंगे। पर यही गुजरात में भाजपा के सांसद नारायण भाई काछड़िया 2016 में उसका जजमेंट आया। अमरेली के भाई काछड़िया भाजपा के सांसद को सजा हो गई। उस सजा को गुजरात की हाई कोर्ट ने राहत ना दी, पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने नारायण भाई काछड़िया को लाखों रुपए का पेनल्टी भरने के लिए कहा और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि एक सांसद अपने क्षेत्र के नेतृत्व से वंचित ना रहे, उसका कंसीडरेशन भी किया। हाई कोर्ट के जजमेंट में जो कुछ चीज़ें हैं उनके सामने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में अपील होगी और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट से राहुल गांधी जी को जो ये आज तक के ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट्स हैं, बीजेपी के एमपी के उसमें रवैया जो रहा, एक केरला में 307 के गुनाह में भी राहत दी है अभी अभी एक केस में, तो राहुल गांधी जी को इन तथ्यों को देखते हुए, राहुल गांधी जी ने तो कोई गुनाह ही नहीं किया।
पर दबाव की बात आ रही है सर, कहा जा रहा है कि ईडी का दबाव है, हर चीज़ का दबाव, कांग्रेस ये कह रही है कि दबाव बनाया जा रहा है, तो क्या न्यायपालिका पे दबाव बना रहे हैं क्या?
देखिए, न्यायपालिका के ऊपर मैं टिप्पणी नहीं करूंगा। सबसे बड़ी अदालत होती है जनता की अदालत है। कहते हैं पब्लिक है, सब जानती है, अंदर क्या है बाहर क्या है सब पहचानती है। तो जनता की अदालत जो है वही इसको देख रही है और वही न्याय भी करेगी।
शक्ति सिंह जी, लोकस की बात करें तो लोअर कोर्ट में लोकस स्टैंड है कि बहुत ज्यादा आर्गुमेंट्स हुए थे, फिर भी आप कह रहे हैं कि प्रेसिडेंट।
Well, so Shakti Singh Goel, that particular reaction cut short. We were earlier in conversation with Advocate Dhananjay talking about the pattern of sentencing that needs to be looked at as well. In the studio with me, legal editor Ashok Bagri and political editor Brijesh Pandey now joining us. Brijesh, I think you're the right person to be asking this question because it seems like it is definitely going to impact the 2024 polls. But how? Well,
I think, it may impact 2024, but if you look at the fact of it, one thing is there, that this is not going to dent Congress party per se. Because, Rahul Gandhi initially, if you remember, took his own sweet time before filing for a relook into challenging the conviction.
Well, reaction coming from Jaipur. Let's cut right across to it.
हर एमएलए मंत्री सड़क पर है, कार्यकर्ता सड़क पर है। हम सब जान लड़ा देंगे राहुल गांधी के लिए। आगे का क्या कदम रहेगा, आप क्या कदम उठाएंगे आगे? अभी अशोक गहलोत जी से और प्रदेश कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष से सबसे बातचीत हो जाए, ये लोग क्या लाइन ऑफ एक्शन तय होता है उस पर हम आगे का डिसीजन लेंगे।
It is a legal case, but it just looks more political right at the outset. Sorry to cut you short there, Brijesh.
No, because it is a legal case, but it is also a political case because when the maximum sentence which was awarded to him, it came as a shock to many legal luminaries, and it's not me only who is saying it. All the top legalers, majority of them said that this was a case. Usually nobody gets that kind of an absolute sentence, the maximum sentence which is prescribed under the said offence. I doubt if this is going to politically harm Rahul Gandhi. Their Congress is already post Karnataka election. Kabir is on a very aggressive warpath against the BJP, and I think they are going to use this verdict as a case in point to further challenge the authority of the government and also portray Rahul Gandhi as a martyr. The Congress is adopting a very aggressive stance after Karnataka win, and I think this is going to continue. There was supposed to be, I think the only casualty would be most likely is the Manipur press conference which Rahul Gandhi was supposed to hold today. Now what we have been given to understand is that former Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad will hold a press conference at 1 p.m. where I think he's going to, another 1 hour from now, where he's going to point out about how this case basically proves, or the judgment basically proves what the BJP has been saying. And at 3 o'clock, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, another top legal lawyer, will hold a press conference. The Congress leader will also try to say about what is wrong with the judgment and how they intend to challenge into the apex court. So legal battle will continue, but I don't think that it will be any dampener as far as the Congress party is concerned.
3 months back, when the verdict had come out, we were talking about the post Bharat Jodo Yatra scenario and how the credibility factor of Rahul Gandhi is something that had taken a major dent. 3 months back, there were a lot of people out there who were saying that they'd give more credit to Arvind Kejriwal.
कभी जुडिशरी को धमकाने की कोशिश करती है, कभी जुडिशरी के खिलाफ विदेशी धरती पर जाकर अपशब्द बोलती है। अब तो राहुल गांधी को 3 लेवल के कोर्ट ने दोषी पाया है। ट्रायल कोर्ट ने, उसके बाद सेशन कोर्ट ने राहत देने से मना किया और गुजरात हाई कोर्ट ने भी, और केवल राहत देने से मना नहीं किया है, बल्कि उन्होंने बताया है कि राहुल गांधी तो एक सीरियल ऑफेंडर है, 10 केसेस हैं उनके खिलाफ। वीर सावरकर जी का भी अपमान उन्होंने किया है और उनके भी परिवार के लोगों ने इसके खिलाफ याचिका दायर की है, केस दायर किया है। राहुल गांधी को ओबीसी समाज से आज माफी मांगनी चाहिए, पर उल्टा उनके कार्यकर्ता कभी जज को धमकी देते हैं, कभी कांग्रेस पार्टी जुडिशरी पर सवाल खड़े कर देती है। अगर पवन खेड़ा को राहत मिले तब तो ठीक है, अगर नहीं मिले राहुल गांधी को राहत तो जुडिशरी के खिलाफ अपशब्द बोलती है विदेशी धरती पर। धमकाने के लिए और इंटिमिडेट करने के लिए कितने सारे लोग इकट्ठा हो जाते हैं जजेस के खिलाफ, जुडिशरी के खिलाफ, और किस प्रकार से उनके कार्यकर्ता कहते हैं कि जीभ काट देंगे जुडिशरी की। ये उनकी मानसिकता और प्रवृत्ति है। प्रमोद तिवारी जी ने भी तो कहा था कि राहुल गांधी को कैसे कन्विक्ट किया जा सकता है, उनके लिए सेपरेट कानून होना चाहिए। आज सत्यमेव जयते कहना चाहिए और आज ये भी कहना चाहिए कि क्या कांग्रेस पार्टी इसी प्रकार से ओबीसी समाज का अपमान करती रहेगी या आज वो ओबीसी समाज से बिना कोई शर्त माफी मांगेगी।
That was Shehzad Poonawala. Little festive clothing and attire over there. Could be a completely different event that he's attending. I'm not trying to connect the two. But away from the political sphere, again coming back to the legal sphere, Ashok, Advocate Dhananjay was talking about how it's important to note the pattern of sentencing. Is there something that can be picked up if we bifurcate the layers?
Well, the way I see it is that there are two aspects to the case. Number one is Rahul Gandhi, and number two is what does it mean for people like you and me? What does this particular verdict or stand taken by the Gujarat High Court mean for people like you and me? Now, what has been really happening is that in the last decade, we have been witnessing a new trend, is that increasing number of defamation cases have been filed for any and every offensive statement which has been uttered from a political platform or on a social media platform. Now, the impact of such filing of cases has had a chilling effect on the freedom of speech. Now, freedom of speech is such a valuable speech, especially valuable right, especially in a democracy, that without a freedom of speech, without fair discussion of ideas, without fair arguments, debates, there can be no democracy. The whole idea of democracy minus freedom of speech comes under great threat. So, it is definitely, I believe, the right time to reignite the debate on decriminalizing defamation, because there is no vested state interest in making defamation a criminal offense. Defamation is something which is done against one particular individual. There is no state interest in prosecuting somebody who's made an offensive remark against somebody else. It can be treated as a civil wrong. It can be punished. People can be penalized. Fines can be imposed. And the whole debate that defamation should not act, or the offense of defamation should not have a chilling effect on freedom of speech, should be maintained, because the global practice at this particular point in time is to decriminalize defamation And especially this has been the practice in democracies across the world. So it's time that we reopen the debate on decriminalizing defamation.
Certainly. Other panelists now joining us. Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst with us. Subhash Kashyap, constitutional expert with us. And Ashish Pandey, advocate, Supreme Court with us on the broadcast. Tehseen, surprised news for you, or were you expecting something along the similar lines?
Not surprised. But I can tell you that it'll be stayed in the Honorable Supreme Court. I bow before the majesty of the Gujarat High Court, but I disagree with its judgment. I disagree with its judgment simply for a number of reasons. Number one, the entire manner in which this trial was carried out against Sri Rahul Gandhi left a lot to be desired. Here is Sri Rahul Gandhi who makes a speech in Karnataka. He very categorically speaks about three Modis: the Honorable Prime Minister, Lalit Modi and Nirav Modi. Neither of which two, Lalit Modi or Nirav Modi, are OBCs. Somebody in Gujarat who comes from the BJP, an ex-minister who himself has made a number of political speeches against the Gandhis and Congress, decides to go to court on it in a criminal defamation case. There is no inquiry ordered by the magistrate because Sri Rahul Gandhi is not a citizen of Gujarat or staying in Gujarat. Then the same gentleman who's filed a case asks for Rahul Gandhi to be summoned. When the courts refuse it, the very next day he goes to a high court and puts a stay on his own case. Can anybody in this esteemed panel or any expert in the country tell me when has a litigant put a stay on his own case? Then when the judge changes, he goes back to the court and asks for the stay to be lifted. It leaves a lot to be desired. Once again, Sri Rahul Gandhi, there is no magistrate's inquiry called for. So the entire way that this case was carried out leaves a lot to be desired. But that's one part, that's the legal part, which of course the Honorable Supreme Court will look at. Let's look at the second part, which is more pertinent. I grew up in an India where I would hear slogans, Gali Gali mein shor hai, Gandhi chor hai, ya Gali Gali mein shor hai, Vajpayee chor hai. Did all the Vajpayees or all the Gandhis go to court? Is Modi a community? It's a surname. Different people in different parts of the country. It's not a community. And the two Modis specifically referred to, Lalit Modi and Nirav Modi, are not OBCs. They have actually defrauded this country another way. So who benefits by protecting them? In my opinion, this judgment of the Honorable High Court will not just be stayed, but the Honorable Supreme Court will even reverse the conviction, because I have not heard of any democracy, and we are in the mother of democracy in Amrit Kal, not Amrit Kyal. So in Amrit Kal, do you want a prominent leader of the opposition facing criminal defamation? If anyone was aggrieved by what Sri Rahul Gandhi said, anyone, go file a civil defamation case. What is criminal defamation case? Which mature democracies have it? I am stunned, astounded, but not surprised.
All right. Initial thoughts by Tehseen Poonawala. Also with us on the broadcast, Subhash Kashyap, constitutional expert. Mr. Kashyap, the former law minister Ashwini Kumar, he also said that he wasn't happy. He called the verdict and the situation a bit unfortunate. He, went on to question the validity of the verdict as well. Your initial thoughts? How are you looking at the Gujarat High Court's verdict today?
Well, politics apart, the constitutional and legal position is that the aggrieved party can either file a review petition or go to the Supreme Court.
Well, all right. Would you like to elaborate on that?
All the points that are being made can be made before the Supreme Court.
All right. Also with us on the broadcast, Ashish Pandey, Advocate Supreme Court. Advocate Pandey, your initial thoughts, and then we'll expand the discussion further.
I mean, the scene is surprised. I mean, not surprised, but somehow being a member of legal fraternity, I'm surprised that this outcome is there. I cannot say that judgment is right or wrong. This matter is sub judice. The matter will go up to the Supreme Court. But what happens? That what has happened today is that the High Court has said that the stay on conviction cannot be granted because conviction is just. Another aspect is that appeal is still pending. then how to reconcile these two things is somehow perplexing. And usually, what happens in such matters when appeal is accepted for hearing on merits, stay on conviction is granted. So somehow this thing is not happening in this case. That's why, being a lawyer, I am slightly surprised.
Those were the initial thoughts of the panelists. Ashok, coming back to you as well, what Mr. Kashyap said, what Mr. Pandey is also saying here. Would you like to echo on their thoughts?
Well, most of them have expressed their surprise with the Gujarat High Court verdict.
You for one weren't surprised, right?
I wasn't surprised because an interim application or an interim prayer was made for suspending the conviction or seeking a stay on the conviction, and at that particular point in time the Gujarat High Court judge had said that I don't see there are any reasons to grant stay of conviction, and what has really happened today is that he's basically delivered a verdict which is a reasoned order. Now you might agree with that reasoned order, you may not agree with the reasoned order. He has given his reasons not to stay the conviction. Challenge it before a higher court, let the higher authority or the higher court examine the reasons which have been cited by the Gujarat High Court judge in his verdict, and let a fair call be taken. But as I said earlier in the beginning, is that here the issue is not Rahul Gandhi. Here it's a larger issue. The whole question of defamation as a criminal offense. How the courts are interpreting the offense, how punishments are being handed out. Now, there are two major points which the Congress party, which the advocates for Rahul Gandhi have been pushing in the courtrooms. Number one, they are saying that this particular case has a chilling effect on the freedom of speech of politicians, number one. Number two, they have been saying that even if, for argument's sake, if we were to say that a case of defamation is made out, it can only be made out by Narendra Modi, Nirav Modi or Lalit Modi, whose names were taken by Rahul Gandhi in that particular speech. The legal position is that an offense of defamation cannot be made out if it is targeting a class or a group of people. But here, the courts have taken a stand, that is, the trial court has taken a stand, that it believes that in the particular facts and circumstances of this particular speech, an offense of defamation is made out. And I have always been an advocate for decriminalizing this offense of defamation, primarily for the reason that it acts as an unnecessary fetter on freedom of speech and expression. What we are witnessing today is that for every offensive statement that is made out, people are rushing to the court saying that a case of defamation is made out. What is the point in having a freedom of speech if you cannot abuse somebody, if you cannot make an offensive statement? But that offensive statement has to be made within boundaries that offensive statement should not hurt or harm the reputation of another person. That is fine. But
of course,
if I cannot say something offensive or abusive about a situation or another person, then what good is this freedom of speech?
Well, certainly. I mean, the question might not be about Rahul Gandhi under the legal purview, but certainly is when we're looking at the politics. Joining us on the broadcast is also Suresh Kochitil. Very warm welcome to you. But Tehseen, coming to you first, we're running this poll on our live stream. It says, will the High Court verdict impact the Congress's campaign for 2024? And the community, the poll is completely divided, 50% saying that yes, it will, 50% saying no, it will not. What's your take on that?
Look, politically, it depends on how the Congress can take this up, how people perceive it, because I meet every day thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and everybody tells me one thing. The minute the Bharat Jodo momentum picked up and Congress started doing well, and they were at that point expected to win Karnataka, which they subsequently won, and now they will win Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Chhattisgarh. And Rahul Gandhi was being assertive, and the image that the BJP created of him, the Pappu image, was completely destroyed, and he came across as a humble man, a people's man. These things have struck. They've taken away his house, they've taken away his MPship, this case has suddenly come in, decision came quickly. That's what people say on the streets. I don't say it. Let me go on what is a larger point. Let's leave Rahul Gandhi out of it. Like I told you in my earlier opening remarks, I grew up hearing slogans, Gali Gali mein Chore, Gandhi Chore, Gali Gali mein Chore, Vajpayee Chore. Do all Vajpayees go to court and file defamation? See, you have to understand one thing. Political speeches will always have some amount of political rhetoric. And I'm not one for abusing somebody. I don't think, unlike Ashokji, that somebody should be abused. But I must have a right to at least question somebody. What constitutes defamation? Say I say, hypothetically, the Prime Minister is involved or the BJP is involved in terrible governance. Now the BJP may believe it's not, and it's defamatory, and tomorrow take me to court. Then there will be no freedom of speech left in this country. So you have to understand this from a perspective. Unless I say very specifically, did JP Nadda, a terrible governance, is involved in ABC scam, and in that scam he's made money for his wife. That Mr. Nadda has a right to take me to court. If I say BJP or I say you can't go to court. So similarly, for this whole issue about this Modi, either Prime Minister should have gone to court or Lalit Modi or Nirav Modi, not this person from BJP who's continuously made defamation cases, defamatory statements. Second, in a criminal defamation, you've got to go with clean hands. You can't go with soiled hands yourself, that you're a political activist who's made political statements, but now you will go and file a criminal case against somebody else. It doesn't work like that. So I'm astounded by the way this is played out actually in Amrit Kal in the mother of democracy. But let's make one more point which is very clear. At the end of the day, Rahul Gandhi or any leader of opposition, their duty is to question the government. If government starts censoring or government people associated with the government start getting verdicts like this in their favor, there will be no criticism of anybody left in this country. And then we can say that we are the mother of democracy, where there is no, where there will be no debates, where there will be no bets, where there will be no allegations levied. When the Honorable Prime Minister said, "Sabhi dangayon ko kapdon se pehchana jata hai," all writers wear a particular kind of clothes. Anybody wearing any type of clothes, could they sue the Prime Minister? Does it work like that? It doesn't. So this is astounding. But like Ashokji, I am not surprised with this verdict. I said this in my opening remark and I maintain it. I am not surprised. I knew this was coming, primarily because I'd seen what the remarks were of the Honorable High Court.
The remarks of the Honorable High Court, those observations, Advocate Pandey, I'm going to take up those particular observations. One, the fact that, the Sessions Court had pointed out that somebody like Rahul Gandhi, his stature and the politics he conducts, should have been more careful of the words he was choosing. On the other hand, the Gujarat High Court today, whilst refusing the stay on his conviction, said that there are 8 other criminal defamation complaints pending against Rahul Gandhi and that the Sessions Court order doesn't warrant any particular interference. But before that, Suresh Kochitil with us on the broadcast. Mr. Kochitil, many thanks for joining with us. Your opening remarks, how are you looking at it? A major setback for Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party, it seems like.
Well, I don't know, politically speaking, setback or not, because when the moment the judgment was delivered by the lower court, the damage was done. Okay, various allegations were, but today, none of us are talking about a statement made by K.C. Venugopal, which will kind of spoil Rahul Gandhi's chances of getting any relief from the Supreme Court. He said, "We don't expect any justice from courts in Gujarat." This is a statement made by K.C. Venugopal about 10 minutes ago. Now, you are directly attributing motives to the High Court of Gujarat, and definitely be it the Supreme Court. And I'm surprised that Tehseen is so confident. I didn't know that Rahul Gandhi had a Teesta Settlewad name in between, that he could get an urgent hearing and get a stay from the Supreme Court. That's only reserved for Teesta Settlewad and a few others. But Rahul Gandhi, how do you know, Mr. Tehseen, that the Supreme Court will stay? None of us know it. None of us know even they will admit it in the first place, because there is a division bench that he has to go before he reaches the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will tell him, go back to the High Court, appeal before a division bench, and then we will think about it. But look at the confidence of Congress supporters like Tehseen, who openly say, yes, Supreme Court will stay it, as if the Supreme Court has told Rahul Gandhi that they will stay the case. I mean, that is what the confidence of Congress people look. And again, one more allegation was made that this was made against only Narendra Modi and Nirav Modi. No. Look at the statement in court, the pen drive and the other things that were given to the judge. He said, how come all thieves, I repeat, how come all thieves have the Modi surname? This is the exact word used by sentence used by Rahul Gandhi. So it is not meant only at Nirav Modi or Narendra Modi or others, whom or he wanted to Lalit Modi, but specifically Rahul Gandhi said that how come all thieves have a Modi surname? Now imagine tomorrow we do this against another community, another religion, for example, and say all these guys are terrorists, all these guys are thieves, or all these guys are, whatever it is. Will the same reaction come from the Congress saying, no, only those people who are named in that thing should go to the court? The entire community will just not even go to court. You know what will happen to the guy who made that statement like that? This is exactly what I'm trying to say, that when you make an allegation, and that is exactly as a politician, you should know where the Lakshman Rekha is drawn. You should know what has to be said, what has not got to be said. Savarkar is a very emotive issue in Maharashtra, and Rahul Gandhi kept repeating it till Sharad Pawar pulled him up. And now he doesn't even talk about it. He doesn't talk about Adani anymore. Stopped, finished. The day the Supreme Court judgment came, he knew that he was in a soup. He stopped Adani. Why is he not repeating the Adani allegations now? That is the point. Rahul Gandhi has got a shoot and scoot policy. He looks for a new victim each time, and that is what he does.
I want to write to rebut.
Absolutely. We'll let Tehseen reply, and then we'll go to Mr. Pandey, who's very patiently waiting. Tehseen, your rebuttal very quickly.
If one has to learn how to commit political suicide with denial arguments, one has to jump from Mr. Suresh's ego to his IQ, and you commit a logical suicide. The fact of the matter is, how do I know that Supreme Court will state? Because I believe it's a blatantly illegal, it's a blatantly judgment I oppose, and I hope on majesty of the Supreme Court that it will be stayed, because I have not seen any such conviction. It's common sense. Anyone who goes to the court pleads for a favor, pleads for a victory in his favor. So I believe that this judgment is wrong. I passionately believe it's wrong.
You believe.
So I will. Please
don't interrupt me.
Please don't interrupt me. I never interrupted you.
No. You interrupted me. You speak. I was speaking when you cut into me saying that you took your name. Sorry, I want to complete what I was saying.
You took my name, therefore I cut in. Please don't interrupt me. I'll finish, then you interrupt me. So I believe that the judgment is wrong. There's a lawyer on this panel, Ashish Bhai. If I believe the judgment is wrong, my lawyer believes it's wrong, I'll go to court for justice and I'll believe I win there. That is the basis of democracy. But basis of democracy is what's not understood. Therefore, I said committing suicide from intelligence to from ego to intelligence. Now let's go to point number 2 before I hand it over to Ashish Bhai. Here is the second point. Look, what K.C. Venugopal said, whether there are 8 cases against Rahul Gandhi, whether there are 20 cases against Rahul Gandhi is not the point. Did Mr. Rahul Gandhi make a speech about Lalit Modi, Nirav Modi and Prime Minister Narendra Modi being involved? Please don't interrupt me. You keep interrupting me because you are losing the argument. If you were winning the argument, you would have heard me out. I don't do debates like this. That's my condition to come on TV. The TV channel knows my condition, so please don't interrupt me. When the speech of Rahul Gandhi is very clear, why do all people have XYZ surname? Because Lalit Modi, Nirav Modi and the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi are involved. That is the context of the speech. If you take something out of context, that makes it as banal and as clueless as the current government's finance policy. It's clueless.
Can I rebut?
Everything is said in a context.
Can I rebut?
Mr. Kochetil, we'll come back to you. And
no, you gave him a chance, so I have also got a chance to rebut.
We will come back to you, sir. This way, we'll be involved in rebuttals and the discussion won't really go ahead. Mr. Advocate Pandey with us on the broadcast. Advocate Pandey, I know you're a lawyer, but here, how about you become the judge for a second? You've got both the opinions. What's your take on it?
See, I don't have liberty to delve into the merits of the case. But as far as the procedure is concerned, I believe when appeal is accepted, there should be a stay on the conviction, because otherwise there will be no meaning of airing the appeal. So in this particular case, I'm slightly surprised. I was expecting that there will be a stay on the sentencing from the High Court itself, but I believe High Court must have found some reasons to not grant a stay. Let's see what happens in Supreme Court. And as far as the question regarding whether the defamation should be a criminal offense or not. On personal level, I believe that criminalization of defamation we should be done away with. It's high time that it can be continued as a civil wrong, but as far as the criminal wrong is concerned, it's high time that considering the freedom of expression and speech, we should get rid of this particular provision.
A very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Karthike here. Very warm welcome. And I think we had quite a morning, Brijesh and Ashok, on Rahul Gandhi. You know, apart from the technicalities of the case, and apart from the fact that you know, Rahul Gandhi's legal journey has become slightly longer, more extended. Brijesh, is it going to long run have an impact on the way opposition is functioning? If you recall, Sunday the Pawar Maharashtra crisis took place. The party got split, and it is Friday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You have had two events. Would you like to come in, Ashok, on this? You have had two events in 6 days. I wouldn't use the word cataclysmic in context of opposition, but significant.
Well, Karthike, these events are significant, but I refuse to believe that, you know, that these events will have a will impact the opposition unity in a big way, because, you know, Rahul Gandhi's case was there. This is not the first time that it has happened, and you know, we were waiting for the judgment from the Gujarat High Court. There's a hope in the Congress party that, you know, that all this will be set aside by the apex court. And honestly speaking, I don't see that this particular judgment will have any impact on the 2024 general election. I mean, you know, most of the opposition parties are fighting a spirited battle because, you know, other than their own political the situation at stake, there is also the fear of ED and the CBI and the rampant abuse, misuse, depending on which side of the political spectrum you are. And that is one thing which is you know, uniting most of the opposition party. What has happened in Maharashtra is not the last word as far as what will be the situation in 2024. I think, you know, with Sharad Pawar around, you know, someone who has a very stellar proven track record, I'm not willing to write off both you know, the Mahavikas Aghadi or Sharad Pawar and Shiv Sena. We'll have to wait for some time before we you know, we can actually decide whether the events will have a cataclysmic effect or not. But it's a legal setback, 100%. They will approach the apex court, 100%. But I don't think that it is going to be a political setback. Ashok?
Legally, if you look at this case, what this really means for Rahul Gandhi is that, number one, he loses his Wayanad seat. The Lok Sabha Secretariat has already passed an order disqualifying him. It's been over 4 months now, although the Election Commission of India has not, you know, notified a bypoll in Wayanad. Probably they are waiting.
You know, Ashok, it means Rahul Gandhi will not be able to fight 2024 Lok Sabha election if I stand correct, as of now.
If the apex court stay the
apex court. So it politically, you know, I'm to all my guests Ashish, Tehseen and Suheel, you know, the bottom line is, I'm just taking this conversation to the political level. If there is no intervention at the level of the Supreme Court, it means that the 2024 elections, we see Rahul Gandhi as a campaigner, but we do not see Rahul Gandhi as a candidate. So in this case, first I'll come to you, Tehseen, then to Suhilji and Ashish. Do you see a bigger role for Priyanka in context of Lok Sabha? In context of?
In any case, it should happen for the Congress because Priyanka is the X factor. Nothing to do with Rahul Gandhi ji or this conviction. She's the X factor who, since we're only having a political discussion now, the Prime Minister is not being able to solve the Priyanka puzzle, whether it was Himachal or Karnataka. The Prime Minister has not been able to attack her back. She defeated the Prime Minister in Himachal. She defeated him in Karnataka. She's been able to take the Prime Minister being able to turn it around, which he's very, very good at, attacks on him. She's been able to raise pertinent questions. And even in Madhya Pradesh, as your images show now with Kamal Nath ji, she's the X factor with the whole Narmada, the Narmada Puja that she did and all of that. The way the BJP came out and said, oh, the Aarti was wrong, everything. They have had nothing to attack her on. So she is the X factor for the Congress. The Congress must use her more. They wasted her in Uttar Pradesh in 2019. It was absolutely stupid to do that. But she will win you Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh right now.
Mr. Sunil, do you feel that this is changing the way 2024 will happen? Lok Sabha, small things add up to make big things. You have Maharashtra first. You have the decision which has come. I am not going to prejudge what Supreme Court is going to say. I know you must have discussed with my input editor Brijesh Pandey and our legal editor Ashok a lot on the nuances of the case. So let's get it back to political, because this case is about politics. This case has a political implication, and Rahul Gandhi is not a commoner.
No. Let's look at the fact that whether the case has political thing or not, it's a different thing altogether. But what we are debating here is not that. What we are debating here is to understand what politics is happening, particularly within the Congress party. Please understand, Tehseen is so gung-ho about Priyanka Vadra. Want to ask him what happened in Uttar Pradesh last time. Let her take charge of Uttar Pradesh again and prove that she can win in Uttar Pradesh. Let's leave that aside for a moment. Rahul Gandhi's constituency, why not? He cannot contest from anybody else in Uttar Pradesh because he's going to lose per se. But we need to understand the number game here. Congress has 55 seats, of which it won 19 from Kerala last time. Even the most optimistic congressman doesn't even predict double digits in Kerala anymore. So that number of 55 will drop down to 45. Where will Congress get that extra 10 seats from? They'll say, oh, we'll get it from Karnataka, we'll get it from Rajasthan and all that. Well, let's take 5 seats from there also. The Congress is back to 55 again. If the Congress has to kind of claim, that is why we saw Samajwadi leader Akhilesh Yadav in Hyderabad 2 days ago, just a week after he met Mamata Banerjee and rest of the gang in the so-called unity meeting in Patna. Akhilesh has shifted camp. None of the observers sitting in Delhi have observed it. He came and met KCR here, K. Chandrasekhar Rao. Of course, the excuse was that he came to inaugurate a statue of his father and all that. That is a different thing. But the fact is that Akhilesh is not comfortable having Congress along with him in UP. Mayawati is not comfortable in having Congress along with him in UP. And naturally, the entire thing hinges on Uttar Pradesh. If BJP can knock off 70 of the seats outright from UP, BJP is home, done and dusted. But of course, they will have to improve their performance in Karnataka, or at least retain that performance. And as we discussed yesterday, same goes for the Northeast, including Bihar and of course Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh.
Okay.
But Odisha, of course, no hopes. But let us remember this, Congress cannot improve its performance definitely in the coming Lok Sabha elections of 2024. Maximum. The most optimistic of congressmen I have spoken to say they won't reach beyond 70. That is what they are.
वैसे मैं आपसे पूछूंगा नहीं सुरेश जी कि किन कांग्रेसियों से आपने बात की है. I am not going to ask you कांग्रेसी कौन है, but nevertheless, that's your estimate. Ashish, the story is Rahul. You know, the Congress is not the story here. Rahul Gandhi is the story here. Is there any element that Rahul Gandhi may get sympathy, or do you think he's not going to get any sympathy?
I mean, Kartikeya is right. If he doesn't get relief from Supreme Court, then obviously Congress will have to find someone else. And Tehseen is also right up to a certain extent that Priyanka ji is, nowadays a star campaigner for Congress. She is doing pretty well. But as far as the element of sympathy is concerned, see, there are two sections of society. One is already sympathetic to Congress, and another is which are aligned somewhere else. So the question is whether this sympathy will work on those who are aligned somewhere else. If not, is to be seen. I mean, I should not make any forward-looking statement here.
You know, there is one thing, Brijesh. You see, the real problem with Rahul Gandhi had been that after he took over as the vice president, I'm not going to count the period when he became the general secretary, there was not one state where people could say that it's because of Rahul Gandhi that they won the state. Lakshmi, can you put my guest on the screen, please? Thank you. So, not once Rahul could claim that, you know, I delivered that. Last time it happened, I recall 2007 when he campaigned, Mayawati won. 2012 he campaigned in UP, Mulayam Singh won. So both the way the campaign went haywire. But then when they won Himachal Pradesh, it was Veerbhadra ji. When they won Karnataka in 2013, it was Siddaramaiah. The difference is that the Priyanka Gandhi, after having a disastrous start in Uttar Pradesh, she can still claim that it was Himachal because of her. It was Priyanka, Rajiv Shukla, couple of Priyanka's aides from Uttar Pradesh who were like resisted tooth and nail by a lot of people, saying that what is this, left Karan ho gaya Himachal Pradesh mein. But then the state was delivered. That is why Priyanka gets these numbers. She can say that she stayed put there. So ultimately, when we talk about politics in context of people, victories make a difference, isn't it, Brijesh?
Well, victories do make a difference, but I think, Priyanka still has a lot to prove before we can say that, that she is going to be an X factor to take on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We cannot rule out the role of local leaders in the state of Himachal Pradesh who fought the election valiantly, and, there were many who said that it's good that, Rahul Gandhi didn't visit. So much so for the, for him being the top contender as far as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is concerned. Same is the case with the state of Karnataka. It was Siddaramaiah, it was DK Shivakumar who practically delivered. Yes, she oversaw the campaign pretty effectively. But I think, it's still too early for me to say that, that she's going to be an X factor which is going to take BJP by surprise and all. I honestly don't subscribe to this. The second part is that, Rahul Gandhi, Kartike, there have been several attempts to reinvent him. And one of the only attempt which has succeeded and succeeded very well till now is the Bharat Jodo Yatra. You remember, I was one of the first few who started saying that, what he's doing is right. And I was criticized left, right and center saying that, no, what are you saying? There have been several attempts.
I agree, on air.
I agree. Said that the reason is because Rahul Gandhi addressed two of the key issues which were against him. One issue was that he is not regular and that he is not committed. He overcome those things, and post Bharat Jodo Yatra and post Karnataka result, people have started seeing him in a new light. And there's aggressive posture. We see how a confident first family of the Congress saw that all the inter-fighting in the state of Chhattisgarh was brought to an end. Rajasthan also they have reached and all. But I think, if it doesn't get relief from the Supreme Court, honestly speaking, I don't see that situation as a very bad situation for the Congress party. It's good that he is out of the equation if he doesn't get relief, and out of the equation for the post of Prime Minister. And who knows, in that given scenario, in that given understanding, opposition parties would be inclined to believe more of what Congress is saying than what Rahul Gandhi is saying. And mind you, if the luck factor is there, Mallikarjun Kharge has proved extraordinarily lucky for the Congress party.
Tehseen, ये तो कई लोग बोल रहे हैं. Tehseen, you're right.
I actually agree with everything Brajesh has said. Brajesh just said the same thing I said. He just sort of took one thing out of context where I said about Priyanka. Look, Kartik, I was with you and Brajesh both during the Himachal and the Karnataka polls. And Karnataka repeatedly kept saying 125 plus Congress. Now look, I don't think Priyanka ji right now can challenge the Prime Minister and defeat him. That's not true. I'm not like Suresh ji, blinded on one side. I'm absolutely practical. That's why I'm as good as I am. The fact of the matter is, Priyanka, as in the state level, the Prime Minister has not been able to attack her back. She's brought in the X factor. Of course, they've not won Himachal and Karnataka only because of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. In Himachal, they had Rajiv Shukla, Sachin Pilot, Bhupesh Baghel, and in their host of state leadership, which they united, and the BJP was divided out. They also had resources in Himachal. In Karnataka, they had a lot of resources. They could unite Siddaramaiah and DK, while BJP was terribly divided till now. The assembly session in Karnataka is going on. They haven't been able to appoint an LOP. So it's a terrible house in Karnataka. It's finished. In fact, I was pushing for Jagdish Shettar to become an MLC because he was insulted and they made him an MLC. I spoke to everyone that make him an MLC. Check with Jagdish Shettar. So I know what I'm talking. Of course, Priyanka is not a challenge to Modi ji right now in the Lok Sabha. But in the state, she's an X factor in the state elections. So Congress has a formula in the state elections. It will work in Madhya Pradesh, it will work in Rajasthan, it will work in Chhattisgarh. Now, let's come to the central elections. Of course, central elections are going to be completely different. Of course, the Prime Minister is going to bring in some amount of his votes. There's going to be a vote for the Prime Minister. But one thing that works for Rahul Gandhi is after Bharat Jodo, his image has changed. This fake image that the BJP had created about him. He's Pappu, he cannot deliver, he doesn't have sense. These edited videos have changed. People now see him as a people's man. I don't think the Gandhi family is anchoring for the Prime Ministers or hankering for the Prime Minister's post. Have they ever done that? Last 30 years, has there been a Gandhiist Prime Minister? They are very content. So this debate whether Rahul Gandhi will be there or no is irrelevant. Rahul Gandhi will be the moral force around which the opposition unity will be built. Look at Rahul Gandhi. He's going on patching people up. He's bringing opposition unity together. Now for the last point, what happens in Uttar Pradesh? There is no unity. What happens here? What happens there? I am telling you, Just do simple maths. 90% of the problem in opposition is solved. 90%. You say Kerala, Sureshji, oh, Congress may get 10. All right. But BJP is not getting the remaining 9 or 10, right? It's going to left. So whether Congress wins or left wins, they'll be anti-BJP. West Bengal, whether Congress and TMC come together or no, they are going to be anti-BJP. So the problem of anti-BJP is solved. I agree there's a problem of inter-chemistry. There are only 3 states where the problem remains is Uttar Pradesh, Delhi and Punjab. Punjab, there is no BJP. That means it's Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. That will solve itself. Therefore, I'm saying 90% is solved. But this propaganda, oh, opposition unity hasn't happened, there is so much of a problem, it has to stop. You have to do simple maths and the maths will give you the answers. Is there BJP in Punjab? So what's the point if there's an alliance or no alliance with the Aam Aadmi Party? That will only benefit the Aam Aadmi Party. Only Delhi and Uttar Pradesh are problem areas.
Okay. Brijesh?
Well, I think, I will see. I'm not aligned to any political party, so I won't rush to.
You are. You are. I know that, and I vouch for that.
Can I speak, please?
Oh, absolutely. I thought you were speaking to someone. I could see your phone, so I didn't.
No. I had a couple of calls in between which I disconnected. I just want to take Tehseen, of course, does a beautiful PR job for Congress. One can't admit it because he's a part of the family, so naturally he needs to speak for it. Okay, he said about Congress with BJP in Kerala and all that. Okay, let's admit BJP is not there in Kerala. BJP was never there in Punjab. Okay, but he forgot 2 important states. He said all the opposition is together. Where is Odisha? Biju Janata Dal. Where is YSRCP? 23 seats. Where is KCR? 17 seats. Okay, you got 50 seats there between 3 of them. Where are they? Are they with Rahul Gandhi? Are they with Congress party? Did they turn up in Patna? No, they did not.
Congress
that is what it is not opposition. There were 17 parties, of which, as Praful Patel said, 7 had 1 MP, 1 didn't have any MP, and that is what this opposition meeting in Patna was all about. It was a motley collection of Congress plus JDU plus Mamata Banerjee. And we all know what happened to Akhilesh Yadav after that. Nobody wants to accept Rahul Gandhi as a prime minister. That is what Praful Patel spoke about. That is what even Ajit Pawar spoke about. And today, Sharad Pawar is gone. He is decimated. Half of his party is gone. So what are you talking about? Let's talk numbers. Where is Congress going to get its votes from? Give me 1 state or 2 states or 3 states where they're going to get it from. Then I will agree with you. They don't have it. Simple. BJP lost Rajasthan assembly elections and just a few months later swept the Lok Sabha elections. The problem is the moment you put Rahul Gandhi on one side and Prime Minister Modi on the other side, it's a landslide for Modi. That's a problem the opposition also has today. I appreciate that. I sympathize with them on that they don't want Rahul Gandhi to be the Prime Ministerial face. Because the moment you put anybody from that family, that is a sure shot that the party is gone, finished. And with 55 seats, you are not going to have Prime Ministerial ambitions. Even with 75 seats, you can't have Prime Ministerial ambitions. Because there are every other motley in that coalition wants to be the Prime Minister. Mamata wants, Nitish wants, Sharad Pawar wants, everybody wants to be the Prime Minister. But we have Biju Janata Dal, 20 plus seats in Odisha, 23 or 24 seats in Andhra Pradesh, Jagan and Biju Janata Dal, that is Naveen Patnaik ji, have made it very clear that they're not going to join the Congress so-called opposition alliance. So they are out. KCR also said he will not support them regardless whether he supports BJP or not. So you are talking of a fractured opposition, not an opposition by itself. 17 parties, 7 parties with 1 MP, 1 party with 0 MP. So you remove 8 parties from the 17, you know what's the true picture of it. Stalin, okay, Pinarayi Vijayan, what happened? Was Sitaram Yechuri in that meeting? Was CPM in that meeting in Patna? Why didn't they come? Why was Pinarayi Vijayan not invited for the swearing-in ceremony of Siddaramaiah? Why was only Sitaram Yechuri invited? There is a story in the entire thing. The opposition is going to be where it was. 2024 is done and dusted. Mr. Tehseen, we can debate on this, come back in 2024. And the same 2019, I heard a similar debate. I was on a lot of channels where people challenged and said, no, it's all over. It is that, India's shining moment of Modi is finished. 2019 is done and dusted. And we saw what happened finally. It all boils down to numbers. Congress doesn't have the numbers, nor can it get the numbers. Rajasthan, what problem is solved? Tell me. Did Sachin Pilot make any comment yesterday? Last 2 weeks ago, KC Venugopal said all is sorted out. Next day, Sachin Pilot said nothing is sorted out. We all know why a deputy CM was appointed in Chhattisgarh. We all know the story. So it is basically to kind of put a band-aid there and make sure that the problem doesn't arise. And we know what happens to a band-aid after 1 week. And that is exactly what is going to happen. But I'm not looking at the smaller states because the numbers are going to come from the bigger states. Okay, Madhya Pradesh, Kamal Nath is going to create magic. Oh, wonderful. Let's see. Let's see. We all saw the recent set of happenings in Madhya Pradesh. Definitely, we're going to see Maharashtra is finished. Congress is the third partner, their number 3 partner in Maharashtra, so don't have any high hopes. Okay, for all you know, Uddhav Thackeray himself will defect to BJP, and I won't be surprised if NCP itself kind of comes into BJP fold. What are you left with? You're left with nothing. You're talking of Punjab big term. How many seats are there in Punjab?
So you're basically saying that the Congress doesn't have the wherewithal. Neither
Congress doesn't have the numbers.
I think
you just do a back of the envelope calculation. Congress will not get more than 60 to 65 seats. Period.
60 to 65 seats. Tehseen, you respond to it. I think 60 to 65 seats. Tehseen.
There are 2 lines from Dinkar's poem. I'll start with that. जब नाश मनुष्य पर छाता है, पहले विवेक मर जाता है. यही घमंड था. This is the same arrogance Duryodhan had when Bhagwan Krishna went to him. Same. Not 1 inch. I have the most powerful army. No one can defeat me. Same arrogance. And Bhagwan says, बांधने मुझे तो आया है, जंजीर बड़ी क्या लाए.
You talk politics here.
पहले बांध, अनंत का गन. Same arrogance. Same arrogance Duryodhan had. Nobody can defeat
It's not
me.
arrogance.
Same
it's
arrogance
confidence.
Ravan had. Same. What is this? What is this army of
Ravan is on the other side.
Same arrogance, nobody can.
10 people on the other side are Ravans.
I am glad. Now please hear me, Suresh. I never interrupted you. Why do you interrupt me so my flow breaks and my fans don't like it? Don't interrupt me. Let me finish now. This is the same arrogance Duryodhan had, same arrogance Ravan had. Same. Ravan would say, what is this army of bears and monkeys going to defeat me? Same. Don't. This arrogance will fall. So 2024 fall. Now you spoke about Maharashtra.
Narendra Modi is Ravan according to you?
I'm saying
just
your
tell me,
arrogance.
Is Narendra Modi
your
Ravan
arrogance.
according to you? Just answer yes or no. That's it.
Sir,
I don't want to hear anything.
No,
else.
I don't think he's Ravan. I think
then
you said that just now. I'm talking about.
You said that just now.
Arrogance.
So
no,
you said that just now. You are a congressman, and you just said that
and
Modi
please
is
go about
Ravan.
tweeting about what I said.
You
so
know,
it shows that how you jump from from intelligence, from your ego to intelligence, and that's called committing suicide. Now, please may I make my point without you being kind enough not to disturb me? Please, can we be gracious in that, or you want to disturb me and heckle me? If you're done, then I'll speak. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead, because you anyway.
Thank you, sir. Don't heckle me. Don't heckle me, sir. I never heckled you even once. Thank you, sir. The fact of the matter is that in Maharashtra, Congress today is the largest opposition party. This thing about seeing debates on TV, what BJP spokespersons coming and repeating it. Did I ever even bring up one point? Because it's an illogical point. BJP is in an alliance with Apna Dal. How many MPs Apna Dal has? 1. BJP is in an alliance with Chirag Paswan and his uncle. How many MPs there between the two of them? 2. Did I bring those points up? Everyone will stitch a coalition the way they want. Of course, it's not a perfect coalition. Of course, it's not a perfect coalition. Even the BJP is not a perfect coalition of the NDA. That's why they've reached out to Akali Dal. That's why they've reached out to Jagan Mohan Reddy. Of course, it's not perfect. How do you think all coalitions will be perfect and homogeneous? They won't be. BJP has 280 or 300 plus. So right now, they're dominating the coalition. The same BJP, if hypothetically it comes to 220, they won't. You'll see the same Jagan getting his pound of flesh. You'll see the same whoever goes in that coalition getting their pound of flesh. So let's understand politics. Don't come on TV and repeat something just because it's been repeated by BJP spokesperson. Let's make individual assessment what the situation is. Now let's go to what the future holds. Of course, the elections are not going to be easy for the UPA. It is against resources. It does not have, BJP is a pan-India party. It's very mighty, and the Prime Minister Modi brings in personal charisma and personal votes. Of course, that's the truth. Who's denying it? But does that mean the opposition should sit at home? The same Suresh ji on your channel would have said Congress is making no attempt to patch up Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot. पैच अप करे तब भी गलत, ना करे तब भी गलत. आप करे तो चमत्कार, कोई और करे तो गुनहगार. आप करे तो लीला, कोई और करे तो कैरेक्टर ढीला. ऐसे तो नहीं चलेगा ना भाई. आप करे तो मास्टर स्ट्रोक चाणक्य नीति, कोई और करे तो गांधीगिरी नहीं. ऐसे तो नहीं चलेगा. The same Congress that you are criticizing for not taking on T.S. Singhdeo, I criticize them that why you not solving T.S. Singhdio's problem. Today you are criticizing them why you solve T.S. Singhdio's problem. What is the matter? करे तो करे का, जाए तो जाए का. वाह मोदी जी वाह बोलते बैठ जाए घर पर. अरे our dharma is to fight, we will fight. Your dharma is to defend, you defend. जो होगा public तय करेगी. Why do you have to get into what BJP spokesperson say? I defend the Congress because I believe in it.
Okay. Okay, okay. See, I think
can I make one correction? Can I make one correction, please?
Okay. I think
I
go. Suresh, it's like it's like sometime in a debate, you hit a circle, so you just can't take the by-lane. So I think my debate has hit a circle. To you, Suresh.
30 seconds, please.
Go ahead.
YS Jagan was never a part of BJP, okay? The alliance or whatever you want to call it. He was never there. I think you're mixing it up. It was Chandrababu Naidu. Okay, TDP. You got it all mixed up. So it was Chandrababu Naidu.
Okay.
And Naidu himself wants to come back.
I think our debate was more on Rahul Gandhi. Ashok, what sort of issues can be taken up in the court now with the precedents set at the High Court? I'm going back to the legal issue.
Well, as far as the appeal against this Gujarat High Court verdict is concerned, the matter will be argued on two primary arguments. Number one is that it will go into the merits of the offence itself, that what will be told by the lawyers to the Supreme Court or whatever forum they appeal in, whether it's the division bench, but according to the rules of the Gujarat High Court, an appeal against the order of a single judge can be made to the Supreme Court. So my hunch is that Rahul Gandhi is going to come to the Supreme Court. Primarily two arguments will be made, that whether an offence of defamation is actually made out or not. Because if you look into the definition of defamation, defamation is basically an offence if you make an offensive utterance against an individual or against a person, and the consequence of that utterance is to lower the reputation of that particular individual against whom the utterance was made, to lower the reputation of that person in the estimation of the society. And the test which has to be put here is the test of a reasonable man, whether that statement which is or the statement which is being called defamatory, how does a reasonable man look at that statement? We do not take in the test of a oversensitive person. Now here what will happen is that the advocates for Rahul Gandhi will say that number one, the test or the ingredients of defamation is not made out, because a statement was made by Mr. Rahul Gandhi where he attributed a statement to a class or a group of people.
But the same argument would have been made in High Court.
Of course it was made and it was dismissed. It was made, it has been dismissed.
So Supreme Court pe kyun nahi ho sakta dismiss? Okay, this is a layman question.
I'll tell you. What you do is that when you go to the apex court, you put your best foot forward. You make your best argument. You don't make out a case saying that irreparable damage or irretrievable damage will be caused to me. My political career is at stake. I will be debarred from contesting electoral politics for the next 8 years. These are all fringe arguments. Now, when you are in the court of law, you make a legal argument. You have to convince the courts legally, saying that yes, this offence is made out, and while this offence is not made out, this whole idea of conviction itself is wrong. And in the meantime, the judgment of the trial court is tested. The balance of convenience will lie in staying the conviction. Because if the conviction is not stayed, the damage which will be caused to me because of not staying the conviction cannot be rolled back. So basically the argument will be that once the court has taken a stand, you cannot put back the hands of the clock.
Ashish, are you there with us?
Yeah, I am very much here.
Yes.
Ashok has very beautifully summarized what is going to happen in Supreme Court. And being a lawyer, I should avoid commenting on merits of the case. But this is precisely what is going to happen. The best case scenario is going to be to prove that the lower courts, whether it is Session Court, Honorable High Court, Gujarat, they have, somehow not properly applied law as far as the facts of this particular case is concerned, and then the Honorable Supreme Court will decide what is the case.
But there is also another layer of it, defamation. there's a larger debate on defamation in this country. Do you think those issues would be taken up there in the court?
No, I don't think.
No.
No, that was completely uncalled for. That is, you cannot have 50 cases deciding on the merit of the case which is before you. You decide only on the merit of the case which is before you. Okay. Rahul Gandhi may have made.
I just told you, these are the layman questions which people ask. Not everyone understands the intricacies of the way Supreme Court functions and the difference between the procedures of law when they take up similar cases at the High Court level and the Supreme Court level. Ashish, please.
Kartikeya, what may happen in the Supreme Court is, obviously the court will focus on this particular case itself, but there may be certain observations regarding the utility of this criminal provision in IPC nowadays. So on that basis, there may be further debate, deliberations, and maybe some legislative actions in future. But as far as this particular case is concerned, the court, in all probability, will restrict itself to the facts of this case.
Why would you say that it would restrict itself, but there have been other cases in which court had broadened the conversation?
Which case?
For example, even in the Sabrimala case, it broadened the conversation.
That you are right. You are right. But see, this is not a PIL which has gone directly to the Supreme Court. This is an appeal from the High Court judgment. So whatever is there in the original judgment of the High Court, the court will usually deliberate on those points.
Taiseen?
In fact, I agree with what Ashish is saying. In fact, we're going one step further in this particular case. You cannot even go into new aspects of the case. Only the same aspects of the case, the legalities of that aspect, the prima facie, what has been done wrong by the honorable lower courts, including the honorable high courts, on the legality will be answered. Not even new facts of the case can come in. Unless it is extremely exceptional, even new facts will not be argued. Only the legalities and the technicalities. Therefore, my opening argument was on the legalities and the technicalities where I felt the honorable high court erred. So you cannot even go into new merits of the case. The merits of the case stay. The legalities is what will be argued on.
Okay. Before we go any further, let's play out the bite of Digvijay Singh and a couple of other leaders who had spoken while we were discussing the subject of Rahul Gandhi's future in politics and especially what happens in the Supreme Court. Let's play out all the bites.
तो यही तो उम्मीद थी उनसे, गुजरात का हाई कोर्ट और गुजरात की जुडिशरी पर जिस प्रकार से उन्होंने निर्णय दिया है, ठीक है, जो भी है सुप्रीम कोर्ट पे अपील जाएगी।
2019 में मेरी जिम्मेदारी समस्त गुजराती मोड़ मोदी समाज की उप प्रमुख की थी। उस दौरान 2019 के लोकसभा के कैंपेन में कर्नाटक में बेंगलुरु से 100 किलोमीटर दूरी पर कोलार में कांग्रेस पार्टी द्वारा एक जनसभा का आयोजन किया गया था। उस जनसभा में श्रीमान राहुल गांधी ने सभी चोरों का उपनाम मोदी क्यों, ऐसी कई अपमानजनक बात हमारे समाज में की थी। तभी 2019 में हमने सूरत में चीफ कोर्ट में बदनक्षी का मुकदमा पेश किया था और 2023 में हमारे दोनों पक्षकारों के वकीलों की दलील, एविडेंस के आधार पर 2 साल की सजा श्रीमान राहुल गांधी जी को हुई। बाद में उन्होंने कन्विक्शन स्टे के लिए सूरत की सेशंस कोर्ट में जब वो आए थे, वापस दोनों पक्षकारों की वकीलों की दलील हुई। बाद में वहां पर भी उनका कन्विक्शन स्टे निकाला गया, खारिज कर दिया गया। तब हमारे फैसले हमारे पक्ष में रहा। उस फैसले से नाराज होकर नामदार गुजरात हाई कोर्ट में श्रीमान राहुल गांधी ने फिर से मुकदमा कन्विक्शन स्टे के लिए आए थे और आज दोनों पक्षकारों की दलील हुई है। बाद में आज का जो फैसला दिया गया है, तो उस फैसले को हम नामदार हाई कोर्ट के फैसले को स्वीकार करते हैं और जो भी कानूनी मुद्दे उसमें उठाए गए, उसमें हमारे जो एडवोकेट है टोलिया साहब, वो आपको बताएंगे।
आज हाई कोर्ट ने राहुल गांधी जी की जो अपील थी उसमें फैसला सुनाया है। 80 से 90 पन्नों का फैसला है अभी जज साहब की साइन नहीं हुई है। पूरे जजमेंट को स्टडी करने के बाद दोपहर 3 बजे ऑल इंडिया कांग्रेस कमेटी की ओर से अभिषेक मनु सिंघवी जी ऑफिशियल रिएक्शन देंगे। हमें पूरी उम्मीद है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में ये मैटर ज़रूर जाएगी और जो पहलू राहुल गांधी जी की फेवर में है, कर्नाटक में कुछ बोलने पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट के काफ़ी जजमेंट है, लॉ क्लियर है कि कर्नाटक में कुछ बोले हैं उसकी मैटर सूरत में चल नहीं सकती। अगर चलानी है तो कानूनन जो प्रोसीजर करनी चाहिए वो हुई नहीं थी। राहुल गांधी जी ने किसी जाति के खिलाफ कोई बात नहीं की। अगर नीरव मोदी, ललित मोदी देश को लूट के गए और उन तथ्यों को जनता के सामने वो रखते हैं तो उनका अधिकार है। यूएन कन्वेंशन में भी ये कहा गया है कि नेता की ये जिम्मेवारी भी है कि देश में ऐसी चीज़ जनता तक पहुंचे। फिर भी जो जजमेंट आया उसके खिलाफ हमारी अपील थी। राहुल गांधी जी बिल्कुल अपील के दौरान जो मुद्दे रखे थे उसमें क्या हाई कोर्ट का जजमेंट है उसको स्टडी करने के बाद अभिषेक मनु सिंघवी जी बात रखेंगे। पर यही गुजरात में भाजपा के सांसद नारायण भाई काछड़िया 2016 में उसका जजमेंट आया। अमरेली के अस्पताल में जाके एक शेड्यूल कास्ट डॉक्टर को पीटा, ऑन ड्यूटी मारा। नारायण भाई काछड़िया भाजपा के सांसद को सजा हो गई। उस सजा को गुजरात की हाई कोर्ट ने राहत ना दी, पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने नारायण भाई काछड़िया को लाखों रुपये का पेनल्टी भरने के लिए कहा और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि एक सांसद अपने क्षेत्र के नेतृत्व से वंचित ना रहे, उसका कंसीडरेशन भी किया। हाई कोर्ट के जजमेंट में जो कुछ चीज़ें हैं उनके सामने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में अपील होगी और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट से राहुल गांधी जी को जो ये आज तक के ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट्स हैं, बीजेपी के एमपी के उसमें रवैया जो रहा, एक केरला में 307 के गुनाह में भी राहत दी है अभी अभी एक केस में, तो राहुल गांधी जी को इन तथ्यों को देखते हुए, राहुल गांधी जी ने तो कोई गुनाह ही नहीं किया।
पर दबाव की बात आ रही है सर, कहा जा रहा है कि ईडी का दबाव है, हर चीज़ का दबाव, कांग्रेस ये कह रही है कि दबाव बनाया जा रहा है, तो क्या न्यायपालिका पर दबाव बना रहे हैं क्या?
देखिए, न्यायपालिका के ऊपर मैं टिप्पणी नहीं करूंगा। सबसे बड़ी अदालत होती है जनता की अदालत है।
It is very unfortunate that justice has not been prevailed. It is a murder of democracy. But still, the entire country, all the opposition parties and the people of this country stand by Rahul Ji. He is a great leader who has been fighting across the country to unite country, walking on the streets of this country, fighting against corruption, fighting against unemployment, fighting against price rise. This is the love he has been given to the people of this country. So the BJP leaders are not able to tolerate. They want to block him from the parliament. They want him to unnecessarily create for his speech, which is nowhere heard. I have been looking at various opinions across the world, globe, that all of them are criticizing the way the BJP leaders are trying to take on Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I still feel that he will grow more stronger. Whatever they do, the people of this country will stand by him and we are with him.
क्योंकि वाणी की स्वतंत्रता गाली की सनक नहीं बन सकती। अब कुछ लोगों को लगता है कि जो फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन है वो जो है वो फ्रीडम ऑफ एब्यूज है कि आप जिसको चाहो गाली दो, जिसको चाहो आप शब्द कहो, जिसको चाहो जो बातें कहो। इसलिए कानून अपना काम कर रहा है। कानून का जो भी निर्णय है उसका सबको सम्मान करना चाहिए।
इस निर्णय से ये लग रहा है कि अब वो चुनाव नहीं लड़ सकते हैं।
अब क्या होगा, जो कानूनी प्रक्रिया है उसको सबको पालना करना होगा। मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में देश विकास के रास्ते पे सरपट दौड़ रहा है और जहां जहां पर भी विकास के रास्ते में किसी भी तरह का स्पीड ब्रेकर या किसी भी तरह का रोड़ा अटका, उसको भी साफ करते हुए और देश के आम लोग तरक्की के हिस्सेदार भागीदार बन रहे हैं। वंदे भारत भी उसका एक हिस्सा है।
हम न्यायपालिका की इज्जत करते हैं, उसका कदर करते हैं, लेकिन हम ये मानते हैं कि ये फैसला कानून और तथ्यों पे दोनों पे ये गलत फैसला है। और जब ये कहा कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट का रास्ता खुला है, वो तो खुला होता ही है, वो तो कहने वाली कोई बात नहीं होती। जिस न्यायपालिका के पास, जिस कचहरी के पास कोई जाता है मसला, वहाँ वो उसका फैसला इस चीज़ पे करते हैं। आगे ये नहीं कि आगे क्या उसके पास जो अक्यूज हैं उनके पास क्या रास्ते खुले हैं। मानते हैं कि ये जो तथ्य रिकॉर्ड पे आ चुके हैं, उनके करते हैं फैसलों की, अब आगे फिर देखा जाएगा।
It is very difficult for me to comment on the validity of the judgment of the Gujarat High Court, but I have no doubt that its justification should be tested in the Supreme Court. The decision to unseat Mr. Rahul Gandhi was a very unfortunate decision. The conscience of the nation has rejected that view, and I have no doubt that the Supreme Court, taking cognizance of the true intent of the law and of national sensitivities and constitutional sensitivities, will decide in its wisdom the way it will decide. There is no doubt that this decision will be challenged in appeal, and hopefully the decision of the Gujarat High Court will be reversed.
मैंने अभी इनको भी कहा था कि जैसे लग रहा था कि इतनी जल्दी जो आ रहे हैं उनकी जजमेंट, तो ये अनफॉर्चुनेट है कि आते हैं, क्योंकि हम कहते हैं कि भगवान के बाद अगर न्याय मिलता तो वो कोर्ट अदालत जो न्याय देती है। तो मेरा ख्याल है कि अब हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाएंगे तो वहां जाकर इसका करेंगे।
आज राहुल गांधी जी की पुनर्विचार याचिका को गुजरात हाई कोर्ट ने खारिज कर दिया। मतलब कि उनकी जो 2 साल की सजा है वो बरकरार रहेगी। कोई बात नहीं, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का रास्ता अभी भी बचा है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में राहुल गांधी जी जाएंगे, वहां अपनी बात रखेंगे, न्याय के सबसे बड़े मंदिर में गुहार लगाएंगे। और जैसे आप सबको पता है कि सत्य को तो परेशान होना पड़ता है, लेकिन सत्य पराजित नहीं होता। आज नहीं कल उन्हें भी न्याय जरूर मिलेगा। हमें पूरा विश्वास रखना चाहिए हमारी न्याय प्रक्रिया पर। देखते हैं, ईश्वर पर भरोसा रखते हैं, न्याय के देवता पर भरोसा रखते हैं, जरूर आज नहीं कल न्याय मिलेगा।
आज राहुल जी का रोल हिंदी, आज राहुल जी का केस का फैसला है। आज राहुल जी का केस का फैसला है। राहुल जी की जो गुनहगार ठहराया गया है, मतलब कन्विक्शन जो दिया गया है, वो कन्विक्शन सस्पेंड करने के लिए जो हमने एप्लीकेशन हाई कोर्ट में रखी है, रिवीजन एप्लीकेशन, उसका चुकादा, उसका जजमेंट अभी 11 बजे शार्प आने वाला है।
जो कोर्ट ने अभी जजमेंट के सुनवाई के वक्त जजमेंट डिलीवर करते वक्त उन्होंने जो मुद्दे दिए हैं, उसके हिसाब से मैं जहां तक समझाऊं कि लोअर कोर्ट का जो ऑर्डर है वो सही है। दूसरा, एमएलए एमपी होने की वजह से सिर्फ किसी को कोई बेनिफिट नहीं मिल सकता है, स्पेशल बेनिफिट नहीं मिल सकता है। तीसरा मुद्दा ये है कि जो एक्यूज है, एक्यूज के सामने बहुत सारे ऐसे केसेस है। चौथा मुद्दा ये है कि इवन आफ्टर दिस केस जो हमने आर्ग्यू किया था कोर्ट के सामने, उन्होंने वीर सावरकर जी के सामने भी कुछ उन्होंने स्टेटमेंट किए थे जो कि वांधाजनक टिप्पणी थी, और इसके लिए भी उनके ऊपर कुछ केस हुआ है। ये हमारी दलील थी जिनको ग्राह्य रखा गया है, और इसके हिसाब से आज जजमेंट दिया है, रिवीजन डिसमिस हुई है।
वीर सावरकर के बारे में भी
वीर सावरकर जी के बारे में उन्होंने स्टेटमेंट कुछ ऐसा दिया था कि मैं वीर सावरकर नहीं हूं, आई विल नॉट से सॉरी, ऐसा स्टेटमेंट था जो कि न्यूज़पेपर वगैरह में अवेलेबल था। दैट वी प्लेस्ड ऑन द रिकॉर्ड, अदर साइड डिड नॉट डिनाई इट, उनको ना नहीं बोला, एंड कोर्ट हैज कंसिडर एट दिस स्टेज। उसके साथ जो लोअर कोर्ट में अपील है उनको भी जल्दी से खत्म करे, ऐसा भी उन्होंने कोर्ट में ऑब्जर्वेशन किया हुआ है।
संबोधित करें।
मित्रवर, संजय आयुक्त जी, सभी सम्मानीय पत्रकार मित्रों, नमस्ते। राहुल गांधी के संबंध में एक महत्वपूर्ण डेवलपमेंट हुआ है। कोर्ट के द्वारा उस पर अपनी टिप्पणी करने के लिए मैं आपके सामने उपस्थित हुआ हूं पार्टी की ओर से। राहुल गांधी ने 2019 के चुनाव में एक टिप्पणी की थी कि सारे चोरों के सरनेम मोदी क्यों होते हैं। आपको पता है कि मोदी सरनेम अधिकांश पिछड़े और अति पिछड़ी जातियों का होता है देश भर में, और यह घोर रूप से आपत्तिजनक टिप्पणी थी। कायदे के मुताबिक उनको माफी मांगना चाहिए था, स्लिप ऑफ टंग हो गया, लेकिन माफी मांगना तो उनकी फितरत में नहीं है। लोअर कोर्ट ने उनको 2 साल की सजा दी, उसके खिलाफ वो सेशन कोर्ट गए, सेशन कोर्ट ने उनको बेल तो दे दिया लेकिन कन्विक्शन को स्टे नहीं किया, और आपका कन्विक्शन स्टे नहीं होता तो आप 2 साल की सजा है तो आप सदन के सदस्य नहीं रह सकते, और बाद में वो कार्रवाई हुई आप जानते हैं। इसके खिलाफ वो गुजरात हाई कोर्ट गए, और गुजरात हाई कोर्ट में अभी उनकी कोशिश यही थी कि हमारा जो कन्विक्शन हुआ है उसको स्टे किया जाए। ट्रायल कोर्ट के फैसले के खिलाफ मेरिट पर उनका मामला सेशन कोर्ट में पेंडिंग है, ये थोड़ा समझना बहुत जरूरी है। तो उन्होंने ये आग्रह किया कि हमारे कन्विक्शन को स्टे किया जाए, और आज गुजरात हाई कोर्ट ने बड़ा ही विस्तृत ऑर्डर दिया है, और उन्होंने उनके इस प्रेयर को रिजेक्ट कर दिया है। बाकी टिप्पणी तो जजमेंट हम देखने के बाद विस्तार से आपको बताएंगे, आपको भी मिलेगा, अभी लोड नहीं हुआ है। लेकिन जो वहां जानकारी मिली है, कोर्ट ने कहा है इनके खिलाफ लगभग 10 मामले चल रहे हैं, इसलिए कोई रीजनेबल ग्राउंड नहीं है स्टे करने का। जहां तक डिफेमेशन का सवाल है, राहुल गांधी इज ए हैबिचुअल ऑफेंडर। मानहानि के मामले में राहुल गांधी आदतन अपराधी हैं, और यह बात हम बहुत जिम्मेवारी के साथ कहना चाहते हैं। अगर आप उनके पूरे देखें राजनीतिक टिप्पणियों को, तो विदेश में जाके वो भारत के लोकतंत्र का अपमान करते हैं, डिफेम करते हैं, भारत की संस्थाओं का डिफेमेशन करते हैं, चाहे वो इलेक्शन कमीशन हो। अब तो मीडिया को भी डिफेम करते हैं कि आप बिके हुए हैं। और सबसे तो उसका रोचक पक्ष ये हमें मालूम हुआ कि उनकी जो प्रेस थी, एक तथाकथित कांग्रेस का समर्थित पत्रकार को उन्होंने भाजपा का कार्यकर्ता बता दिया। ये आपने लाइव देखा होगा टीवी पर, और कहे तुम कमल छाप का बैज लगा लो, और बाद में यही भी कहा कि तुम्हारी हेकड़ी निकल गई। तो अब तो वो पत्रकारों को भी नहीं छोड़ते हैं, वो जेएनयू जाते हैं और टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग के साथ खड़े हो जाते हैं। वो सेना के बारे में खून की दलाली की बात करते हैं। अभी मैं भाजपा की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं। इन्होंने राफेल पर देश में चौकीदार मैं बोल नहीं सकता हूं क्या कैंपेन चलाया, और बाद में भारत की जनता ने जबरदस्त जवाब दिया। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि यह बिल्कुल ठीक है, तो उन्हें सुप्रीम कोर्ट के निर्णय की भी आलोचना की, और जब कंटेम्प्ट शुरू हुआ तो माफी मांगा। संघ से तो लगता है राहुल गांधी इतना नफरत करते हैं कि गांधी के हत्यारे रहे हैं, उसके खिलाफ डिफेमेशन चल रहा है। तो लगभग 7-8 डिफेमेशन केस चल रहा है उनके खिलाफ, और ये तो उन्होंने ओबीसी का सीधा अपमान किया। पहली बात हमें पूछनी है कांग्रेस पार्टी से, आज आप राहुल गांधी को कंट्रोल क्यों नहीं कर सकते? उनको ठीक ठाक बोलने की ट्रेनिंग क्यों नहीं दे सकते? आपके नेता है ना वो। अगर इसी ओबीसी मामले में वो माफी मांग लिए होते तो मामला खत्म हो गया होता। और याद करिए, सूरत के ट्रायल कोर्ट ने उनसे कहा कि आप माफी मांगेंगे, उन्होंने माफी मांगने का अवसर भी दिया था। तो उनकी टिप्पणी क्या है? आई एम नॉट सावरकर दैट आई विल अपोलोजाइज। एक महान देशभक्त वीर सावरकर जिसने 11 साल अंडमान में गुजारे, उसके बारे में कितनी नफरत है उनके दिल में, ये समझिए आप। तो सावरकर के पोते ने भी एक केस किया है। वीर सावरकर को उन्होंने विदेश में भी अपमानित किया। तो अपमानित करना, बेइज्जत करना, एब्यूज करना राहुल गांधी की फितरत है। आई रिपीट, इट हैज बिकम a chronic habit of Mr. Rahul Gandhi to abuse, to defame, and almost showering the worst kind of abuses against eminent leaders and organizations. So Mr. Rahul Gandhi, if you do like this, the law will catch up with you. राहुल गांधी, अगर आप इस तरह के ये बात को समझेंगे कि लोगों को अपमानित करना आपका अधिकार है, तो कानून का भी अधिकार है कि आपको पकड़ा जाए, और जो आपके अपमान से पीड़ित होता है उसको भी अधिकार है कि वो अपने सम्मान की रक्षा के लिए न्याय का सहारा ले। ये तो पूरी कहानी है। इसमें न कोई फ्रीडम है, न कोई बोलने की आजादी है। कोई कैसे कह सकता है कि सारे चोर का सरनेम मोदी कैसे होता है? क्या मतलब है इसका? कुछ भी बोल देंगे आप। मुझे मालूम है हमारे प्रदेश बिहार में बहुत सारे मोदी उत्तर भारत में अति पिछड़े परिवार से आते हैं, यूपी में आते हैं, गुजरात में आते हैं, देश में बाकी जगह पर हैं। तो यू हैव नो कंट्रोल ऑन योर टंग कि आप कुछ भी बोल देंगे। और जब आपको कोर्ट ने कहा कि राहुल गांधी जी आप माफी मांगेंगे, तो साहब आप सीधा कि मैं सावरकर नहीं हूं कि माफी मांगूंगा। दिस इज, आई वुड से, इर्रेस्पॉन्सिबल एरोगेंस, गैर जिम्मेदार अहंकार है। किसी को गुणों पर अहंकार हो सकता है। राहुल गांधी में तो मैं तो एक ही अहंकार का भाव देखता हूं कि मैं खानदान में पैदा हुए हैं और उसी की कमाई उनको मिलती भी है। ठीक है भाई, इसके अलावा आप सबको एब्यूज करेंगे, अहंकार दिखाएंगे। मैं कई बार इस मंच से कह चुका हूं कि राहुल गांधी होमवर्क नहीं करते हैं। हम नहीं करते हैं, चले जाते हैं जेएनयू में टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग के पास, उनके पक्ष में खड़े हो जाते हैं। बाकी तो मैंने सब उनके गिनाया ही। तो आज का निर्णय गुजरात हाई कोर्ट का स्वागत योग्य है। एक मैं और बात कहना चाहता हूं, और ये मैं कानून के छात्र के रूप में कहना चाहता हूं। अभी प्रायोजित टिप्पणियां कांग्रेस की ओर से आएंगी या आ सकती हैं कि इतना हार्श पनिशमेंट क्यों दिया। तो हमारा जवाब है, इतना हार्श ऑफेंस क्यों किया? कोई पहली बार किया क्या? Mr. Rahul Gandhi, your conduct has disentitled you from getting any remission as far as sentence is concerned. कोर्ट ने तो आपसे कहा था आप माफी मांग लीजिए, विषय को खत्म करिए, तो उस पर तो आपने और। तो इसलिए अगर आज 10 केस आपके खिलाफ चल रहे हैं तो चले। तो इसलिए ये निर्णय उचित है। अब वो जाएं सुप्रीम कोर्ट, जाने की मैं खबरें सुन रहा हूं, ठीक है, उनका अधिकार है। लेकिन ये जो विधि सम्मत निर्णय आया है, ये उचित निर्णय है। और इसमें राहुल गांधी के सिर्फ यही नहीं, राहुल गांधी के डिफेमेशन के संबंध में पूरे आचरण को भी नोटिस किया गया है। क्योंकि आपको मालूम ही है कि अगर आपके खिलाफ केस होते हैं तो जुडिशियल प्रोसीडिंग इज ए मैटर ऑफ रिकॉर्ड, वो तो नोट हो सकता है। तो अपनी ओर से मित्रों, मैंने कुछ विषय आपको बताया। कोर्ट ने एक बात है कि राहुल के खिलाफ कम से कम 10 क्रिमिनल केस पेंडिंग है। इसके अलावा उनके खिलाफ कुछ और केस फाइल किए गए हैं। एक तो वीर सावरकर के पोते ने दायर किया है, जो अभी वो हाल में विदेश में उन्होंने उनको टिप्पणी किया। और कोर्ट ने कहा है कि परिस्थितियों के आलोक में सजा पर रोक लगाने का कोई विषय नहीं बनता है और सूरत के सेशन कोर्ट के आदेश में हस्तक्षेप की आवश्यकता नहीं है। Therefore, the High Court has taken into account the totality of situation and his conduct and said it is not a case fit for a stay of conviction. ये बात मैं आपसे कहना चाहता हूं। बाकी तो मेरे पास सारी सूची हमारे संजय जी ने उपस्थित कराई है कि कितना कितना इन्होंने विषय रखा है कि इनके खिलाफ क्या क्या चल। ओबीसी की फितरत है। The BJP would like to assert very emphatically that not giving due to the OBC is a part of the DNA of Congress party. अभी जो ओबीसी का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल कमीशन बन रहा था उस पर भी टीका टिप्पणी की गई थी, आपको मालूम ही है। नरेंद्र मोदी की सरकार है जिसने ओबीसी के पूरे समाज के लिए, जैसे एसटी का कमीशन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बॉडी है, जैसे एससी का कमीशन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बॉडी है, उसी प्रकार से ओबीसी के कमीशन को भी संवैधानिक मान्यता दी थी। और बाकी जिस तरह से ओबीसी के बारे में अन्य काम किए गए उसकी चर्चा आपसे हम करते रहते हैं, करेंगे आगे। लेकिन कांग्रेस पार्टी का इन सबों में असहयोग रहा है। तो यह भी जानना बहुत जरूरी है कि उनका अहंकार, उनका लोगों की बेइज्जती करने की उनकी फितरत, लोगों को अपमानित करने की उनकी चाहत, और मैं कानून से ऊपर हूं क्योंकि मैं गांधी परिवार का, ये अहंकार, ये समस्या का कारण है। तो मिस्टर राहुल गांधी, कानून ने अपना काम किया आपके बारे में। मिस्टर राहुल गांधी, कानून हैज caught up with you. Face the consequences. एक बात हम और कहना चाहेंगे, उसके बाद आपके प्रश्नों का हम लेंगे। राहुल गांधी जी जहां से लड़ते हैं, जब हार जाते हैं तो उसकी आलोचना शुरू कर देते हैं। आजकल अमेठी पर बोलना शुरू कर दिया उन्होंने। यूपी पर तो और योगी जी पर तो ऐसा ऐसा बोला है कि मेरे पास शालीनता है थोड़ी मेरे पास। तो योगी जी के बारे में जो उन्होंने शब्दों का प्रयोग किया उसे मैं दोहरा नहीं सकता, सब रिकॉर्ड पर है। अब वायनाड भी वहां से बहिष्कृत हो गए कानून के द्वारा, तो वहां की आलोचना शुरू करेंगे। जो राहुल गांधी के मन भाए वो ठीक है, जो न मन भाए वो गड़बड़ है। अगर वोट नहीं मिलेगा तो चुनाव आयोग गड़बड़ है। अगर मीडिया उनकी प्रशंसा नहीं करेगा तो आप बिके हुए हैं। अगर कोर्ट के लायक मन लायक वर्डिक्ट नहीं आएगा तो कोर्ट पर भी। और आपको मैं यहां बोलना चाहूंगा, आप में से बहुत से मित्रों ने राहुल गांधी के भाषण का जवाब मैंने लोकसभा में दिया था, और उसमें मैंने राहुल गांधी और उनकी माताजी के करप्शन के केस का विस्तार से जिक्र किया था कि नेशनल हेराल्ड केस में कैसे इनको सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक रिलीफ नहीं मिला। सदन के अंदर भी कोर्ट की आलोचना की गई थी। बाद में हम लोग जब कस के एग्रेसिव हुए तो फिर उसको निकाला गया, उन्होंने सॉरी कहा। तो ये इनकी फितरत है, तो हम इस निर्णय का स्वागत करते हैं। दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड, थैंक यू।
नीरज पांडे, एबीपी।
आपका स्वागत है ना भाई, आइए ना, क्या फर्क पड़ता है। सड़क की लड़ाई के लिए हम तैयार हैं क्योंकि जनता मोदी सरकार का काम देखती है और जनता का आशीर्वाद मोदी सरकार को, भाजपा को, एनडीए को मिलेगा।
देवेंद्र परासर, इंडिया टीवी।
दूसरे प्रश्न का जवाब देवेंद्र जी मैं पहले देना चाहूंगा कि ये चुनाव आयोग का अधिकार है, इसलिए मुझे कुछ नहीं बोलना है। हमारे नेता गड़बड़ करते हैं तो आप जाइए ना कोर्ट में। मना किया है क्या आपको? किसी ने मना किया है क्या? मौत का सौदागर किसने कहा? एक लोकप्रिय बड़े प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री को ठग किसने कहा? आर्मी चीफ सड़क के गुंडा है, ये किसने कहा? मैं गिनाना शुरू करूं क्या देवेंद्र जी? सबकी सूची हमारे पास है। तो भाजपा के कार्यकर्ता शालीनता के घेरे में रहते हैं, और अगर कहीं ये गलती होती है तो कार्रवाई भी होती है। लेकिन यहां तो जब राजकीय मानदंडों के साथ राजनीति होती है कि उनसे कोई सवाल नहीं पूछ सकता, तो ये तो होगा ही।
यतीन्द्र टीवी 18।
कांग्रेस की तरफ से ये आरोप लगाया गया है कि जो राहुल गांधी ने संसद में प्रधानमंत्री से सवाल पूछे, उसकी वजह से उनको सजा मिल गई, लेकिन राहुल गांधी डरेंगे नहीं, अपनी लड़ाई लगातार लड़ते रहेंगे।
मैंने कहा था पहले भी कि राहुल गांधी होमवर्क नहीं करते, अब कांग्रेस वाले भी होमवर्क नहीं करते। राहुल गांधी ने 2019 के चुनाव प्रचार में कर्नाटक में कहा था, ये रिकॉर्ड पर है, आप उन्हें भी दिखाया था। तो कांग्रेस वाले थोड़ा होमवर्क करना सीखो भाई। हाँ, और बाकी वो तो क्या क्या बोलते हैं सदन में, तो आपने सुना ही सुना है। वो मोहब्बत की दुकान खोलने का दावा करते हैं, और मोहब्बत की दुकान कहां है तो उनके भाषणों को देख लीजिए आप। और ये कांग्रेस वालों, आप सुनो, राज्यसभा में राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण पर 2 घंटा इन्होंने मोदी जी को बोलने नहीं दिया था। याद है ना आपको? अपने रिकॉर्ड को निकालिए तो। तो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री को आपने 2 घंटा राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण पर धन्यवाद का जवाब नहीं देने दिया। यह है कांग्रेस का हाल, और कांग्रेस बात करती है।
ठाकुर रविंद्र सिंह, जी न्यूज।
आप तो बड़े अनुभवी विद्वान पत्रकार हैं, ये आपको कहां से लग गया कि मैंने कहा है कि वो माफी मांग ले? मैंने संदर्भ बताया कि ट्रायल कोर्ट ने उनसे कहा था कि आप माफी मांग लें। उन्होंने कहा मैं माफी नहीं मांगूंगा, मैं सावरकर नहीं हूं। और जहां तक दूसरी बात है, ये कानून की प्रक्रिया है। आप किसी को गाली देंगे, किसी को अपमानित करेंगे, तो जो पीड़ित है उसको कानून का सहारा लेने का अधिकार है। और जिस तरीके से आपने एक पिछड़े, अति पिछड़े मोदी समाज को पब्लिकली चोर बताया है सरनेम के माध्यम से, ये बहुत ही गंभीर मामला है।
प्रज्ञा कौशिक, सीएन टाइम्स नाउ।
I don't want to comment, neither I have seen the comment of the American ambassador, nor I have seen the comment of Mr. Manish Tiwari. Our foreign policy is clearly guided by India, qua India's interest, and also to ensure global peace. And the repeated international trips of the Prime Minister and the kind of respect he is getting as a global leader, it speaks volume for that.
सुचित्रा, ANI।
डीके शिव कुमार और क्या बोलेंगे और क्या बोलेंगे? वो बोल रहे हैं, छोड़ दीजिए। चाहे मैंने विस्तार से बताया, नेता की टिप्पणी का जवाब नहीं देना है। मैंने कानून और पॉलिटिकल रूप से विस्तार से रख दिया। जाए सुप्रीम कोर्ट, जो कोर्ट अपना न्याय करेगा।
संजय शर्मा, लोकमत।
अच्छी बात है, कोशिश करें। देखिए, बहन अपने भाई के लिए कुछ बोल रही है तो इस पर मुझे कोई टिप्पणी नहीं करनी है। धन्यवाद।
विकास चंद्रा, न्यूज नेशन।
सर, मेरा सवाल है यहाँ सर कि मामला कोर्ट का है, कोर्ट ने फैसला सुनाया, लोअर कोर्ट के बाद हाई कोर्ट, इस तरह से बोलते हैं कि सब कुछ बीजेपी ने किया हो, प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने किया हो, अमित शाह ने किया हो।
अगर कांग्रेस पार्टी की ओर से यह कमेंट किया गया है तो यह न्यायालय का बहुत बड़ा अपमान है। फिर मैं कह रहा हूं, अगर कांग्रेस पार्टी से कहा गया है तो न्यायालय का बहुत बड़ा अपमान है। मैं आपको इतना बताना चाहूंगा कि राहुल गांधी 3 लेयर पर हारे हैं। अपने कांग्रेसी मित्रों के लिए थोड़ा मैं स्मरण दिलाना चाहूंगा, लोअर कोर्ट ने उनको सेंटेंस किया, बेल दिया लिमिटेड समय के लिए, कन्विक्शन स्टे नहीं किया। उसके खिलाफ वो अपील में गए, सेशन कोर्ट ने अपील मंजूर की, बेल दिया, कन्विक्शन स्टे नहीं किया। उसके खिलाफ फिर वो हाई कोर्ट गए, हाई कोर्ट ने भी कन्विक्शन को स्टे नहीं किया। तो ये न्यायालय की 3 सीढ़ियों, जो हायरार्की होता है कोर्ट का, उसका ये निर्णय है ना। तो अब इस पर भी कांग्रेस को यही कहना है तो फिर वही कहें। राहुल गांधी को समझाए कौन? देखिए, राग दरबारी भारतीय शास्त्रीय संगीत का बड़ा ही क्लासिकल राग है। राजनीति में राग दरबारी जब बजता है तो सारा सुर बिगड़ जाता है।
अंतिम प्रश्न है रवि कांत राय, टाइम्स नाउ भारत।
सर, कांग्रेस पार्टी और उसके सहयोगियों ने कहा है कि इस फैसले का राहुल गांधी के पॉलिटिकल करियर पर कोई असर नहीं पड़ेगा, लेकिन बड़ी विनम्रता से हम ये कोर्ट से अनुरोध करते हैं कि इतनी हार्श टिप्पणी किसी राजनीतिक व्यक्ति पर नहीं करनी चाहिए जो उन्होंने सीरियल ऑफेंस में कहा।
देखिए, वो ऊपर के कोर्ट में जाएं, लेकिन सीरियल ऑफेंडर का उन्होंने कोई ग्राउंड नहीं दिया है क्या? अगर 10-10 आपके खिलाफ डिफेमेशन के मामले चलते हैं, आप सावरकर को कुछ भी बोल देंगे, आप संघ के बारे में क्या क्या टिप्पणी नहीं करेंगे, आप आर्मी के खून की दलाली का हिसाब मांगेंगे, आप चुनाव आयोग को क्या नहीं बोलेंगे, आप मीडिया को बिका हुआ बोलेंगे, भारत में लोकतंत्र खत्म हो गया बोलेंगे, तो ये तो सुपर सीरियल ऑफेंडर हैं जहां तक एब्यूज का सवाल है।
मित्रों, अभी धन्यवाद न कह रहा हूं क्योंकि 5 मिनट के लिए और आप लोग बैठे रहेंगे, हम लोग विदा लेते हैं।
दिल्ली के मित्र आ रहे हैं?
हाँ, दिल्ली आइए।
तो यही तो उम्मीद थी उनसे। गुजरात का हाई कोर्ट और गुजरात की जुडिशरी पर जिस प्रकार से उन्होंने निर्णय दिया है, ठीक है, जो भी है सुप्रीम कोर्ट पे अपील जाएगी।
2019 में मेरी जिम्मेदारी समस्त गुजराती मोड़ मोदी समाज की उप प्रमुख की थी। उस दौरान 2019 के लोकसभा के कैंपेन में कर्नाटक में बेंगलुरु से 100 किलोमीटर दूरी पर कोलार में कांग्रेस पार्टी द्वारा एक जनसभा का आयोजन किया गया था। उस जनसभा में श्रीमान राहुल गांधी ने सभी चोरों का उपनाम मोदी क्यों, ऐसी कई अपमानजनक बात हमारे समाज में की थी। तभी 2019 में हमने सूरत में चीफ कोर्ट में बदनक्षी का मुकदमा पेश किया था और 2023 में हमारे दोनों पक्षकारों के वकीलों की दलील एविडेंस के आधार पर 2 साल की सजा श्रीमान राहुल गांधी जी को हुई। बाद में उन्होंने कन्विक्शन स्टे के लिए सूरत की सेशंस कोर्ट में जब वो आए थे, वापस दोनों पक्षकारों की वकीलों की दलील हुई। बाद में वहां पर भी उनका कन्विक्शन स्टे निकाला गया, खारिज कर दिया गया। तब हमारे फैसले हमारे पक्ष में रहा। उस फैसले से नाराज होकर नामदार गुजरात हाई कोर्ट में श्रीमान राहुल गांधी ने फिर से मुकदमा कन्विक्शन स्टे के लिए आए थे और आज दोनों पक्षकारों की दलील हुई है। बाद जो क्या है तो उस
ऑल इंडिया कांग्रेस कमेटी की ओर से अभिषेक मनु सिंघवी जी ऑफिशियल रिएक्शन देंगे। हमें पूरी उम्मीद है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में ये मैटर ज़रूर जाएगी और जो पहलू राहुल गांधी जी की फेवर में है, कर्नाटक में कुछ बोलने पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट के काफ़ी जजमेंट है, लॉ क्लियर है कि कर्नाटक में कुछ बोले हैं उसकी मैटर सूरत में चल नहीं सकती। अगर चलानी है तो कानूनन जो प्रोसीजर करनी चाहिए वो हुई नहीं थी। राहुल गांधी जी ने किसी जाति के खिलाफ कोई बात नहीं की। अगर नीरव मोदी, ललित मोदी देश को लूट के गए और उन तथ्यों को जनता के सामने वो रखते हैं तो उनका अधिकार है। यूएन कन्वेंशन में भी ये कहा गया है कि नेता की ये जिम्मेवारी भी है कि देश में ऐसी चीज जनता तक पहुंचे। फिर भी जो जजमेंट आया उसके खिलाफ हमारी अपील थी। राहुल गांधी जी बिल्कुल अपील के दौरान जो मुद्दे रखे थे उसमें क्या हाई कोर्ट का जजमेंट है उसको स्टडी करने के बाद अभिषेक मनु सिंघवी जी बात रखेंगे। पर यही गुजरात में भाजपा के सांसद नारायण भाई काछड़िया 2016 में उसका जजमेंट आया। अमरेली के अस्पताल में जाके एक शेड्यूल कास्ट डॉक्टर को पीटा, ऑन ड्यूटी मारा। नारायण भाई काछड़िया भाजपा के सांसद को सजा हो गई। उस सजा को गुजरात की हाई कोर्ट ने राहत ना दी, पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने नारायण भाई काछड़िया को लाखों रुपए का पेनल्टी भरने के लिए कहा और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि एक सांसद अपने क्षेत्र के नेतृत्व से वंचित ना रहे, उसका कंसीडरेशन भी किया। हाई कोर्ट के जजमेंट में जो कुछ चीज़ें हैं उनके सामने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में अपील होगी और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट से राहुल गांधी जी को जो ये आज तक के ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट्स हैं, बीजेपी के एमपी के उसमें रवैया जो रहा, एक केरला में 307 के गुनाह में भी राहत दी है अभी अभी एक केस में, तो राहुल गांधी जी को इन तथ्यों को देखते हुए, राहुल गांधी जी ने तो कोई गुनाह ही नहीं किया।
पर दबाव की बात आ रही है सर, कहा जा रहा है कि ईडी का दबाव है, हर चीज़ का दबाव कांग्रेस ये कह रही है कि दबाव बनाया जा रहा है, तो क्या न्यायपालिका पे दबाव बना रहे हैं क्या?
देखिए, न्यायपालिका के ऊपर मैं टिप्पणी नहीं करूंगा। सबसे बड़ी अदालत होती है जनता की अदालत है।
It is very unfortunate that justice has not been prevailed. It is a murder of democracy. But still the entire country, all the opposition parties and the people of this country stand by Rahul Ji. He is a great leader who has been fighting across the country to unite country, walking on the streets of this country, fighting against corruption, fighting against unemployment, fighting against price rise. This is the love he has been given to the people of this country. So the BJP leaders are not able to tolerate. They want to block him from the parliament. They want him to unnecessarily create for his speech which is nowhere heard. I have been looking at various opinions across the world, globe, that all of them are criticizing the way the BJP leaders are trying to take on Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I still feel that he will grow more stronger. Whatever they do, the people of this country will stand by him and we are with him.
क्योंकि वाणी की स्वतंत्रता गाली की सनक नहीं बन सकती। अब कुछ लोगों को लगता है कि जो फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन है वो जो है वो फ्रीडम ऑफ एब्यूज है कि आप जिसको चाहो गाली दो, जिसको चाहो आप शब्द कहो, जिसको चाहो जो बातें कहो। इसलिए कानून अपना काम कर रहा है। कानून का जो भी निर्णय है उसका सबको सम्मान करना चाहिए।
इस निर्णय से ये लग रहा है कि अब वो चुनाव नहीं लड़ सकते हैं।
अब क्या होगा, जो कानूनी प्रक्रिया है उसको सबको पालना करना होगा। मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में देश विकास के रास्ते पे सरपट दौड़ रहा है और जहां जहां पर भी विकास के रास्ते में किसी भी तरह का स्पीड ब्रेकर या किसी भी तरह का रोड़ा अटका, उसको भी साफ करते हुए और देश के आम लोग तरक्की के हिस्सेदार भागीदार बन रहे हैं। वंदे भारत भी उसका एक हिस्सा है।
हम न्यायपालिका की इज्जत करते हैं, उसका कदर करते हैं, लेकिन हम ये मानते हैं कि ये फैसला कानून और तथ्यों पे दोनों पे ये गलत फैसला है। और जब ये कहा कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट का रास्ता खुला है, वो तो खुला होता ही है, वो तो कहने वाली कोई बात नहीं होती। जिस न्यायपालिका के पास, जिस कचहरी के पास कोई जाता है मसला, वहां वो उसका फैसला इस चीज पे करते हैं। आगे ये नहीं कि आगे क्या उसके पास जो अक्यूज हैं उनके पास क्या रास्ते खुले हैं। मानते हैं कि ये जो तथ्य रिकॉर्ड पे आ चुके हैं उनके खिलाफ है ये फैसला। उन तथ्यों के हिसाब से, जैसे पहले जज साहब ने कहा था कि राहुल गांधी को चेतावनी दी गई थी, लेकिन उसके बाद फिर उन्हें अपनी ये बात दोहराई। ये तथ्य दोनों सामने तारीखें रख दी गई थी कि वो जो चेतावनी का जिक्र सुप्रीम कोर्ट का था वो पहले नहीं हुआ था, वो इन्होंने ये कह चुके थे, ये 2019 के इलेक्शंस के दौरान कह चुके थे, उसके बाद का वो बात है। और यही सिंपल मैं समझता हूँ एक बात के पे ये जो पहले फैसले हैं वो रद्द हो जाने चाहिए थे, लेकिन हम इज्जत करते हैं फैसलों की, अब आगे फिर देखा जाएगा।
It is very difficult for me to comment on the validity of the judgment of the Gujarat High Court, but I have no doubt that its justification should be tested in the Supreme Court. The decision to unseat Mr. Rahul Gandhi was a very unfortunate decision. The conscience of the nation has rejected that view, and I have no doubt that the Supreme Court, taking cognizance of the true intent of the law and of national sensitivities and constitutional sensitivities, will decide in its wisdom the way it will decide. There is no doubt that this decision will be challenged in appeal, and hopefully the decision of the Gujarat High Court will be reversed.
मैंने अभी इनको भी कहा था कि जैसे लग रहा था कि इतनी जल्दी जो आ रहे हैं उनकी जजमेंट, तो ये अनफॉर्चुनेट है कि एक पार्लियामेंट में जो हुआ उसके लिए गुहार लगाई, और पता नहीं क्यों कैसे जस्टिस नहीं मिल रही। ये सोचने वाली बात है, क्योंकि हम कहते हैं कि भगवान के बाद अगर न्याय मिलता तो वो कोर्ट अदालत को न्याय देती है। तो मेरा ख्याल है कि अब हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाएंगे तो वहां जाकर इसका करेंगे।
आज राहुल गांधी जी की पुनर्विचार याचिका को गुजरात हाई कोर्ट ने खारिज कर दिया। मतलब कि उनकी जो 2 साल की सजा है वो बरकरार रहेगी। कोई बात नहीं, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का रास्ता अभी भी बचा है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में राहुल गांधी जी जाएंगे, वहां अपनी बात रखेंगे, न्याय के सबसे बड़े मंदिर में गुहार लगाएंगे। और जैसे आप सबको पता है कि सत्य को तो परेशान होना पड़ता है, लेकिन सत्य पराजित नहीं होता। आज नहीं कल उन्हें भी न्याय जरूर मिलेगा। हमें पूरा विश्वास रखना चाहिए हमारी न्याय प्रक्रिया पर। देखते हैं, ईश्वर पर भरोसा रखते हैं, न्याय के देवता पर भरोसा रखते हैं, जरूर आज नहीं कल न्याय मिलेगा।
Gujarat High Court judgment is very unfortunate. We believe that Gujarat High Court set aside Surat Magistrate Court verdict, but unfortunately they uphold the Magistrate Court verdict. Now we are going to Supreme Court. We are filing case before Supreme Court. We believe the Indian judiciary. We honor the Indian judiciary. That's why we believe that Honorable Supreme Court will be given judgment in favor of Rahul Gandhi.
There is a very classic case of Navjot Singh Sidhu. Sidhu's case, similarly, a stay was granted because he had stepped down from his post, and then, of course, later challenged it and came back, and and the Supreme Court took a view that, keeping in view the nature of the case, he was granted the stay of conviction. And please note, finally, Mr. Sidhu's conviction was upheld by the Supreme Court. So that is the ultimate stage. Right now, I assume that his eminent lawyers have argued at some great length and sought to make out a case. And if they have sought to make out a case, as one has heard in the news from all of you, then perhaps the discretion of the court in such a situation and for a person who is in public life ought to be exercised by granting the relief of stay of conviction.
I don't think we should bother about whether it's Rahul Gandhi or anybody else. Simple fact is that it's a member of parliament whose sentence is a maximum one for defamation. and immediately thereafter you have no stay as far as disqualification is concerned. It's fairly unprecedented. It's in my view, I don't know of a single precedent where it's happened arising out of defamation cases. These are defamation cases. It's the lightest of cases in a parliament where 44% of them have very serious charges against them, which is why the Supreme Court has set up special courts for MPs, MLAs. The Association of Democratic Reforms has done a very detailed exercise to show how many of our parliamentarians and our candidates are those who have very serious charges. Defamation, in my view, is not a serious charge. Let's understand that. We have been arguing about free speech in this country for a long, long time. And defamatory instances which may arise always in public discourse, I think requires a certain amount of flexibility, especially when it comes to politicians. Otherwise, you're going to have the courts besieged by politicians filing defamation cases against each other. They may or may not be true in given circumstances. You may say something which is offhand, which is definitely bound to be much harsher than it should have been. But in all democracies, we allow a certain leeway when it comes to political speech, which happens as far as elections are concerned.
जो कोर्ट ने अभी जजमेंट के सुनवाई के वक्त जजमेंट डिलीवर करते वक्त उन्होंने जो मुद्दे दिए हैं उसके हिसाब से मैं जहां तक समझाऊं कि लोअर कोर्ट का जो ऑर्डर है वो सही है। दूसरा, एमएलए एमपी होने की वजह से सिर्फ किसी को कोई बेनिफिट नहीं मिल सकता है, स्पेशल बेनिफिट नहीं मिल सकता है। तीसरा मुद्दा ये है कि जो एक्यूज है, एक्यूज के सामने बहुत सारे ऐसे केसेस है। चौथा मुद्दा ये है कि इवन आफ्टर दिस केस व्हाट वी जो हमने आर्ग्यू किया था कोर्ट के सामने, उन्होंने वीर सावरकर जी के सामने भी कुछ उन्होंने स्टेटमेंट किए थे जो कि वांधाजनक टिप्पणी थी और इसके लिए भी उनके ऊपर कुछ केस हुआ है। ये हमारी दलील थी जिनको ग्राह्य रखा गया है और इसके हिसाब से आज जजमेंट दिया है, रिवीजन डिसमिस हुई है।
वीर सावरकर के बारे में भी
वीर सावरकर जी के बारे में उन्होंने स्टेटमेंट कुछ ऐसा दिया था कि मैं वीर सावरकर नहीं हूं, आई विल नॉट से सॉरी, ऐसा स्टेटमेंट था जो कि न्यूज़पेपर वगैरह में अवेलेबल था। दैट वी प्लेस्ड ऑन द रिकॉर्ड, अदर साइड डिड नॉट डिनाई इट, उनको ना नहीं बोला एंड कोर्ट हैज कंसीडर एट दिस स्टेज। उसके साथ जो लोअर कोर्ट में अपील है उनको भी जल्दी से खत्म करे, ऐसा भी उन्होंने कोर्ट में ऑब्जर्वेशन किया हुआ है।
BrahMos, stealthy, lethal, precise. It flies at 3 times the speed of sound and cuts through a warship like a hot knife through butter. China's navy has threatened its neighbors and they are turning to the BrahMos for protection. The warship killer. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers, video editors, camera crew, and what have you. But does a newsroom really need them today? Well, I decided to ask ChatGPT. Scarily enough, it tells me that AI has the potential to automate many tasks that are currently done by human resources. For example, it can analyze data to predict which stories will be popular. It can write basic news reports and it can even edit videos. Well, the script I'm reading actually came verbatim from ChatGPT. So I can tell you, fellow scriptwriters, it's time to upskill. But that's not all. These illustrations that you see were made by DALL-E, another open AI tool. So is it goodbye graphics designers too? But we will need human beings as anchors, right?
I doubt a bot can take over your world just yet.
But I believe they will be able to do all mundane and even more specialized jobs sooner than we know.
More language and accent modifications at the snap of a finger. More analyses that required the expertise of experts just now.
For all we know, there would be newsrooms experimenting with the concept of bots anchoring news bulletins already.
Thanks, Shruti. Well, these colleagues of mine you just met are all AI generated too. So should I be worried about my job? And should you too? So very interesting times that we live in. There are three front runners when you talk about the race for the chat GPT or the whole imagination around chatbots. First, of course, is chat GPT itself, OpenAI. Recently, we had Microsoft invest $10 billion in chat GPT. Closely linked to that was Google Bard. Google Bard came as an immediate response to chat GPT. Unfortunately, it cost the parent $100 billion in market cap because of a wrong answer that it gave and got called out by experts on social media. At the same time, the Chinese internet giant Baidu is also in the bid to launch its own version of ChatGPT. It's going to be a ChatGPT rival, as it is touted. So all in all, very exciting times when it comes to AI as a concept and when it comes to companies investing in AI. But for once, there's that real sinking feeling. It's a creepy feeling of a real and present danger when it comes to jobs. And not just jobs, even business models seem to be at stake.
ChatGPT may kill many companies, may kill the model, the huge margin of Google, right? That's what Satya is saying, correct? It can all happen. So it's only innovation of a outstanding nature that can dramatically hurt these companies, not business model or business cycle.
OpenAI is spending perhaps $1 million a week giving you those free answers. I'm not sure that's sustainable. Microsoft is a big investor in OpenAI. They've already invested several $1 billion. They're talking about investing $10 billion. And so you can expect to see ChatGPT or descendants of ChatGPT in all of the Microsoft Office products soon.
I'm quite excited about the whole AI boom right now and the kind of companies that are coming up which are helping you sort of do better content production all the way to sort of managing your customer service better to sort of doing your technology and coding much better. And ChatGPT an example. I think ChatGPT is the first one, but I think there are many other companies which are in the offing right now.
I think the inflection point is now where we are going to see it across industries, across domains, and permeating everyday life also, right? We've seen it go into natural language in a big way in the past few years through Google search or through ChatGPT now. We are seeing that it is being used as chatbots